Last time on Square Roots. Who's your fuzzball? Who's your little fuzzball? Is you rolling like a ball? Yes, you is. Who rides a moogle? Are you the best little box basher? Are you? Vampire?
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I'm joined by Matthew Van Zant.
Hello.
John Corneo.
Oh, that's not nice.
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
And this is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs one chunk at a time. And this is Final Fantasy Rebirth, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Part 10.
Don't forget to say prunes, Vanessa.
Prunes.
Prunes.
So why are we playing this? What do we do on this show?
I already said it.
This is a new show that just came out this week, and we're playing hot new games. That's our podcast.
Yeah, we're the Hot New Games podcast.
Did this game get good reviews or bad reviews? Or medium
Got good reviews.
Okay.
It's one of those weird games that when it's fun, it's really fun, and when it's not, it is like fucking pulling teeth out with a rusty pair of pliers.
Speaking of hot new games, does anybody have any hot gaming news?
Oh, yes. The hottest game of the summer finally got its release date. June 14th, Taskmaster, the virtual reality game, drops. Get pumped.
What's going to happen if it's like the worst game you've ever played?
It probably will be, Jim, and you know what? I'm still going to love it.
I assume it's going to be as good as the Little Britain game. Like, it's going to be on that level, which is
notoriously is there a Little Britain game?
One of the worst games ever made.
Ugh.
It's not about, is it a good game, or is it playable, or was it the right choice to make it a VR exclusive when so few people actually play VR games? It's about putting on your little headset, being in a cartoon Taskmaster house, and that's your house now, and you live there, and the real world can't hurt you anymore.
Vanessa, also, if you do get a quest, which I think is probably the cheapest and one of the better options out there, you'll be able to watch plays.
Plays?
Yeah. You know, like, that's how plays work. You put
like
on your
Loveless.
VR headset. Yeah, like Loveless.
Oh, that'll be so cool. Sometimes I've gone to see, like, National Theater, like, on film. They do that sometimes. Like, they send it out around.
Oh, man. If they did plays on VR, I would watch those.
That would be
I mean, like,
awesome.
from the perspective of, like, one of the actors?
Yeah, why not? You could do all sorts of crazy things.
Yeah,
like a floating
or just
camera.
sit yourself in the middle of the stage.
Yeah, front row. Let's
would
patent
totally
this.
watch,
Patent. TM.
Patent, TM.
Too late. Square already patented it.
They didn't. Theirs is different. That's a self-insert thing. We do not offer self-insert services.
We
You
just
just already
want,
have, like, half a business plan worked out.
Yeah.
What's going on
like,
here?
we want to make live action plays wherein actors talk directly to you as you sit there. You know,
That sounds
like,
fucking
that's
terrible,
not what,
actually.
That's not what I want to do. I want to make it so you just, like,
He's like,
record...
now, Jim, this is what I'm thinking, and this is
Use
how
a
I'm going to
VR
approach
camera.
this conversation.
Use a 180 degree camera so you can look around of a film like what's that one with Harry Potter's wiener? Like, you could film that,
Equus.
and then you could, like, sit and crouch and, like,
With
really
Harry
look-
Potter's wiener.
Yeah.
Come on. Imagine seeing August Osage County, and whenever somebody's about to enter the house, it's like, oh, Vanessa, who do you think's at the door? Let's go see, shall we?
now I'm just like, I'm realizing that this could be the answer to my dream of having Michael Emmerson threaten me. You know, I just want to, like, put on the glasses and he's, like, there in the corner and he just, like, says vaguely threatening things.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if Michael
you wake
Emmerson
up and he's
is
in the
on
room in the
Cameo.
corner.
Can we pay him like $100 to just threaten Vanessa?
Yeah.
Hot
We'll
gaming
ask him
news.
to roleplay that you've woken up next to him and he's sitting in a dark chair, half in shadows in the corner of your room. Tell him to film it there.
Exactly. That's all I
Hot
want.
gaming news.
He should set his camera up in his bed, like on the other side, and he just like rolls over in bed. He's like, "Oh, Vanessa." didn't realize
That's
you were
not
still
threatening.
here."
Unless
I know.
you didn't know he was
different kind of fantasy, Jim.
there. Yeah.
I think you'll have to pay him $500 to get that one.
Yeah, that might be a better investment for a Das Malkian.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Hot gaming news.
Hot
the
gaming
other
news.
the other release on June 14th, which no one cares about, is that all the Kingdom Hearts games are coming to Steam. But whatever.
Yeah,
What?
that is
There's
hot
some
gaming
stream
news.
potential there. I'm excited about that.
No, we don't
Yeah.
care.
I'm
We
just spending
only
time
care
with
about.
Goofy and Mickey and Donald and
What about spending
stupid
time
anime
with
boy.
Greg and Alex and that cow and a rubber duck?
What was the name of the cat?
Pete?
Figaro?
Pete the
Is
cat?
that it? Isn't it like no, it's not pistachio. Is it?
Pete? Are you talking about
What-
Pete? Your
What
biggest
cat are
Disney
you talking
crush?
about?
No, I'm talking about the cat in Taskmaster that they sometimes hide in places. And remember, it has a name. The stuffed
It
animal
does
cat.
have a name. I don't remember its name.
Vanessa doesn't know. Fake fan. Fake fan
Wow. I think it was in a season this season, wasn't it? In the big pile.
Yeah,
other
it was.
animals?
It was in the big pile of animals, and its name is. Listen, I know that the mannequin's named Bernard. Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
And the
X
little.
Defiant came out. Surprise launch. They just pooped it out. They just took a big poop and they're like, actually, no, people are playing it. That's the one that's like a Tom Clancy Ubisoft mix 'em up Overwatch style game of all, like, so you have the Watch Dogs people, you have the Splinter Cell people, you have the Assassin Creed people as a team. I
Who
think
is Tom Clancy? Is he just like an author?
yeah,
Tom
he's
Clancy
dead.
wrote the Jack Ryan books. He is dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hunt for Red
I like
October.
those. Yeah, I like the old the first handful of Tom Clancy books are pretty fucking good.
He is pretty,
Who's the
like, his
guy-
scenarios are all right-wing reactionary stuff, but, like, he's a good writer. He knows
He
his
was a
military
right-wing
stuff.
guy.
Yeah.
He's the one
Who's the
that
guy who
told.
writes
He's the one that
every
said that he
book?
wasn't going to write a new book until the Iraq War was over.
Oh,
And then he
and
died.
So
he
mad about the
didn't.
invasion of Iraq. I think he did
Well-
finally start writing again after it drug on for a decade.
Who's the guy who writes all the books that are in airports now and men love to read
Calvin
them?
Cussler.
No, it's a
That's
different one.
Clive Cussler.
Clive Cussler, you're right.
Are
I
you
He
mean,
writes like
thinking of
legal.
Child?
John Grisham.
Oh, Grisham,
Yeah,
yeah.
John Grisham. When are
I
we
mean,
going to get
Grisham-
John Grisham's
He
Rainbow
writes
Six?
those legal thrillers.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the first few Grisham books are pretty good too. And then you got the guy that does
I've
the
read a bunch of them.
Along Came a Spider books. Who's that? The Alex Cross books. There's a few good ones there, but all of those writers, A, went way downhill, and B, eventually just handed their writing duties off to ghostwriters.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's like just a fact. But I do like that John
releasing
Grisham
a
admits
gajillion
it.
books.
I've actually considered going back and rereading the first. I was talking to somebody about it recently. Like, I've been thinking about rereading those first few Tom Clancy books. Like, they're pretty good. Hunt for Red October and Patriot Games.
I just
Hot
feel like
gaming
Tom
news.
Clancy has dominated the like
Gaming.
author to
news.
game pipeline for too long, and it's time to get like John Grisham's Rainbow Six or something like that.
You know
in
what?
there.
If there was a John Grisham VR game where you were just in like tense courtroom environments, I'd play that.
I mean, I
love
would
that.
too.
What if it was
Um,
live action and Michael Emmerson was in it?
Valve's newest game has leaked. What?
What?
That's
Is it
right.
Half-Life 3?
Deadlock.
What is it?
Deadlock
multiplayer
is a
hero
third-person
shooter.
hero-based shooter. Can you
isn't that
fuck
just
like Valve? I thought you were better than this, dog. Like chasing that fucking chasing that
Overwatch
trend, I
2016
guess.
trend?
Yeah.
Chasing
But
that
people
fucking
love
trend.
that shit.
Not Overwatch. Overwatch is
people had
Overwatch
picked
2
Overwatch
sucks.
2, but Overwatch 2 did apparently they did that to themselves.
yeah, 100%. Don't ask what that accent was.
I don't. Yeah,
What was that
I don't
accent?
know.
Johnny's doing some character work on the show
Yeah,
now.
I think it was a
He's
Cajun,
workshopping.
like an old Cajun man,
Oh.
or maybe dead is better.
Oh, yeah.
Was that John
I
Lithgow?
don't like
Was it-
these hero shooters.
Was that John Lithgow in the remake?
No, it was John Lithgow in the remake, but he did not do a main accent.
Oh, okay.
Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 announced, I think today, the multiplayer modes for the game, and it actually sounds pretty fucking cool. There's going to be a 3-man cooperative campaign, and then there's also going to be PvP stuff. I never played Space Marine, but I always meant to. In fact, seeing that news today kind of made me want to go see if that game's cheap, you know?
Maybe it is. I would like to, I feel like the older I get, the more I look at Warhammer stuff and be like, I could get into that.
Did you see what I purchased recently, Jim?
Oh.
It's
you
a
get blurred out.
Warhammer book. It's a
Oh, you got a Warhammer book.
It is.
It was all blurred out on that
I
side.
agree. It's called the Horse Heresy.
Oh, that's a big event in the Warhammer universe.
Horse Heresy?
The Horse
Nerds.
Heresy.
Heresy.
Apparently, the Horse Heresy is actually a
Heresy.
series of books, a series of 40+ books. But I don't think that it's not like one long story. It's like bits of the story from different writers and perspectives. Whatever. I think. I was playing that bolt gun game, which is on Game Pass. It's a Warhammer 40K boomer shooter. It's really fun, and it kind of got me in that same thought, like you just said again, where I was like, I'm never going to play the tabletop game, but I am vaguely interested in this lore.
I think it's interesting.
What if you do play it? What if you become a miniature guy?
That's not going to happen. I do not have A, the money, or B, the patience for fucking miniatures. Hey, listen, if you want to jump into level ups, I won Shogun again this weekend, and that makes me the all-time winningest Shogun player. I think that I am the top Shogun player in Florida, and that's only because I think I'm the only person playing it in Florida.
Once again, I feel compelled to congratulate you on your victory over a 13-year-old and a drunk man.
A drunk man who has played the game many times in his life, so not feeling too bad about getting good. All right, hot gaming news. Alone in the Dark reboot flopped, Embracer says, after laying off staff. Cool.
Well, hasn't it been out for 3 days?
No, it's been out for 6 weeks around, I think. It does not look very good. I'm waiting for it to go on sale to pick it up.
Am I correct in that it's got what's his face from
David Harbour?
Yeah, I like David Harbour too. It took me 3 tries to watch that Hellboy movie with him in it because I bounced off of it twice and I was like, this is terrible. And finally one night I sat down to watch it, and I guess I was just in the right mindset because the third time I watched it, I was shocked at how much I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty fucking good.
The third act is fucking dumb.
Well, yeah, it just turns into a CGI fucking shit show. But
Yeah.
That's every movie these days. All right, has anybody else got any hot gaming news?
I don't think so.
I think
No.
Akuma got released in Street Fighter 6 if you want to do some Street Fightering
Oh, wait.
sometime, Johnny.
Hold on. There's a rumor going around that Microsoft is preparing a bid to purchase Valve.
Oh, fucking
Oh, we don't
please,
like
no.
it.
Ooh.
Oh, I do have a piece of hot gaming news that's positive news, actually, if
Yay.
you want to hear it. Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door, the new script or whatever, which, by the way, that just came out and is getting glowing reviews, and we're kind of talking about maybe playing it for the show at some point. It looks pretty fucking good.
And the new script has restored the trans character that was
That's right.
taken out of the GameCube original.
That's right. The American translation changed the dialogue so that the character was, I don't know, delusional or something, and now it's kind of restored it as it took me a while to realize I was their sister, not their brother, is the line of dialogue about a group of sisters, but one of them is trans. Pretty cool,
It
actually.
should have been Birdo.
I don't know that Birdo's in that game.
I don't think
Birdo
Birdo...
does her own thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Why you gotta erase women,
Icon
John?
Birdo. What?
Birdo exists.
Trans icon Birdo.
Johnny thinks that Mario should be limited to one trans character, and it should be
No.
Birdo.
I didn't say that. Well,
Listen,
I
I'll
guess you're
do a
right. I
quick
kind of
aside
I
for
implied
Vanessa.
it, I guess, if you...
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I didn't mean
It's
to.
Vanessa, in hot X-Men news, the new editor of the X-Men line has stated that the Jean Wolverine Scott Cyclops thruple is out. It never
Well,
existed.
he doesn't know what he's
you
talking
all made it up
about.
in your head.
Nobody made it up in their heads.
No, it was
I heard about
heavily
it.
implied.
It was definitely there.
It was definitely implied. But
Yeah,
I
and
also
then they
am not mad about it
wussed
because I
out.
wasn't really into it. What do you want from me? I like Gene and Scott. They're like the power couple. Why we got to turn them into a thruple? Make another thruple.
Yeah, I don't really get
Make
that.
your own fucking characters that are thruples. Blech.
Uh-oh.
What about
Matt
a
just
thruple that's
vomited
just,
out a
like-
copy of Fountainhead.
All right.
Speaking
Anybody else
of
got any hot game
Fountainhead-
news? Oh,
Oh,
no.
no, wait. That was going to transition to my level up.
I don't...
Vanessa, how did you level up?
Level up. I finally read. No, I didn't. I watched a documentary called Brandy Hellville. This might be
I've
up
seen
Jim's
that.
alley and nobody else's. It's about
Yeah, I think
a
I'll go grab a
clothing
beer.
line called Brandy Melville, which sort of came out, I guess, in the early 2000s and pulled what we like to call in the industry, as Jim can confirm, an Abercrombie, where they just hired like attractive, skinny white girls to work in their stores, and that was their whole deal. But then they also started to like put signs up in their store that said things like John Galt and
Yeah.
like have copies of the Fountainhead just scattered around. And at the same time, they were trying to be this California cool brand. So like all their employees were pretty liberal, but they also had horrible like factory practices and things like that. And kept the black employees in the back room doing stock.
In the stock rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's a good
wow.
documentary. It's on Max. It also gets into sort of the fast fashion pipeline to Ghana, which I think is very interesting. And I like to watch videos about that whenever I feel the urge to buy something that I don't need.
Yeah, it will make you feel horrible for buying clothing.
Yeah. And, you know, we all need to wear something. So you can't just stop buying clothes. But
Yeah.
I do try to be a little bit more conscientious. Sometimes. I'm definitely not perfect. I also... Everyone has gone ton crazy because that's right. It's marriage market season again. Bridgerton is back, baby.
Whoa.
Ooh. I worked
I
on
thought that
one
show ended when
episode of
Dan
that
Stevens
show.
left.
Dan Stevens was never on Bridgerton.
You're
but that was a
thinking
good
of that
try.
other show.
No, or
that-
he's thinking of that other guy, Rene Jean Page.
No, I'm thinking I am intentionally.
Dan Stevenson
I
was
am
in that
intentionally.
other
Dan Stevens,
show.
I am intentionally conflating two different shows. Yes, I know. He was in Downton Abbey.
Down.
All girl shows are the same to Matt.
And then he left to go be Hollywood's hottest actor and star in Godzilla Times Kong. Best movie of the year.
But Bridgerton's first season did star Rene Jean Page, who then left to be the least significant character in Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, I heard he was arrested for stealing a loaf of bread during the revolution.
Oh.
He was.
I do know who you're talking about. He was not very significant in that movie, but he was delightful, so...
He's a delightful, handsome man. And so now we are back with the third season of Bridgerton. This time it's Paulin. That's right, the Penelope and Colin romance we've all been waiting for.
Oh, yeah,
I
have
can't
been
remember
waiting.
if I worked on season 2 or 3,
I
Vanessa.
don't know. Do you want to come up
One
here?
of them.
Well,
There's so much will they won't they tension in this season of Bridgerton, Vanessa.
there really is, Jim. Thank you for noticing. I also feel like the fashions are even crazier and more anachronistic
crazy.
than anything we've seen before.
There was one scene where I watched the season, by the way, where a lady is wearing a dress and her sleeves, the width of her sleeves around her shoulders, it's like a foot wide on both sides. I remember I was watching it with Amanda, and I was like, I had made us dinner reservations for our anniversary, and I was like, you should wear a dress like that to our anniversary dinner.
Mm-hmm. Really give people something to talk about.
Yeah, really turn some heads.
Yeah, it's Bridgerton. It's doing its Bridgerton thing, which is pretty much what it does. But I do think it's probably the best film iteration of like a romance novel that I've seen. Just that whole genre. I think it really kind of captures the lightness of it, the melodrama, but something about the product design, just like it looks like a candy shop, something like that. Like there's just something very decadent and frilly about it. So that's fun. And finally, I played a game called Little Kitty Big City.
Oh, did you finish it? Will you please stop biting and scratching me, for fuck's sake?
I
You're not
won't.
a little kitty in a big city. You're a fat cat
am.
in my fucking room. Pay attention to me. Scratch, scratch. Pay attention to me. Bite. Sorry. These fucking animals drive me insane.
I did finish it. It's super short.
I did hear that it was super short, yeah.
Really, really short. Like, if you have Game Pass, fine. Otherwise, I don't know what they've priced it at, but I can't imagine paying more than $5 for it and being happy with the content.
Yeah.
It has kind of like Untitled Goose Game energy, but not quite as sassy. It's definitely sweeter than that game overall.
Got some cute animation.
I heard a description of Untitled Goose Game today that I really liked, and that they said it was a like a reverse stealth game where you are the exclamation point that appears above people's head in Metal Gear games. That's pretty good.
It's a great game. Untitled.
So did you
Goose
enjoy?
Game.
You enjoyed Little Kitty Big City?
Yeah, it was all right. It was. I've been playing a lot of that kind of game recently, which is just kind of like games where you do some platforming and quests, but there's no combat, and it's sweet. And I think that Little Kitty in the Big City kind of pushed me to the end of my desire to be playing those right now.
As long
I
as
did
you
watch a
still have
little
a
bit of a
desire
let's
to
play of a game called Lorelei and the Laser Eye that I thought looked up Vanessa's alley.
Is it sweet and cute?
No, it's like a puzzly mystery game, but just kind of looked like something you would enjoy.
I do like a puzzly mystery game. I like to use my noggin. And that's how I leveled up. Jim, how did you level up besides watching Bridgerton?
Yeah, so outside of watching Bridgerton, I finished the game Crow Country, which is a new
Did you just finish that this week?
survival. No, I finished it a couple weeks ago, but I haven't talked about it.
I thought you
Hey,
already talked about it on the
guys.
show.
I mentioned playing
No,
it.
wait, guys. Crow Country for old men.
Jesus.
Oh, finally you got to say it on the
I'm
show.
positive she made that same joke last time. I'm positive.
I finished it, and I was expecting it. Like when I first started it, which I think is the last time I talked about it, I kind of got the vibe that it was very self-serious, but it's not. Like a lot of the dialogue is super funny. The twist about what the bad guy is up to is honestly pretty silly, but the character designs are fun. The dialogue is cool. The controls are great. Aiming is a bit of a learning curve with combat, but it's ultimately very fulfilling. I think it's a good game. Cool. I think you guys should check it out if you like those like old PS1 survival horror games, but with a lot of modern quality of life gameplay improvements.
I am considering that for my choice of bonus next month, though I am also considering another Crab's Treasure, which is like a Souls-like, but does have an easy mode where you get a gun for a shell and can kill everything with one bullet.
That's pretty great.
It is
sounded
cute, Vanessa. It is very
It
adorable.
did it really did like that's what kind of made me think Vanessa might actually really like this game.
Wow.
I can't see her face, but
Oh, she's doing blah 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 hands with her hands.
but it's
No,
cute.
do
It's
crab
cute.
claws.
You like cute stuff.
Crab claws.
Oh, I thought you were being really insulting to
But
me.
I also might just do
No,
like
I
a
mean,
complete
cute little
curveball.
crab.
I think you have to go like
Fateful Findings.
open your hands wider to be crab claws and not blah 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 like all the way.
Yeah, that's blah blah blah, and that's crabs,
Yeah.
and that's
There you go.
alligator.
Yeah. And this is Fishman
And
penis.
this is the church. This is the church, and this is the steeple.
All right, just
What's that
get to
thing?
what you want to talk about,
People.
Jim.
Okay,
I know
sorry.
we all know you want to talk about fucking Josh Brolin's hole some more.
Oh God, more whole talk.
Before I get to that, I would like to mention that I have been playing Hellblade 2, Senua's Sacrifice.
I've heard mixed. Like GameSpot gave it a 6 out of 10 and said the graphics were great, but they didn't like the story.
I've seen some like 10 out of 10 reviews though. Like I guess
Well,
it's a
yeah,
polarizing
People
game.
react to things differently. Like
Yeah, it's interesting. The first
Oh,
game,
do they?
I
Weird.
was
Never
the
heard
first,
not
that.
everyone has the
News
same opinion. Not
to me.
as-
I understand that, but it's weird to see like a wide range of reviews on something.
I think that's
and not-
good.
Yeah. I was under the impression that the whole first game took place inside of Senua's mind because she's like a schizophrenic. And all the like gods, the god that you killed and all of the like demons that you were fighting that looked like men were just like made up in her head.
Oh,
because she
interesting.
was grieving the death of her love. But the second game posits that all of that stuff actually happened and that she did go to hell and kill
Huh.
the Norse version of hell, you know,
Huh.
like Helheim.
Yeah.
Because are a real the antagonist of Hellblade 2 spoiler, I guess.
We shouldn't spoil a game that just came out, Jim.
That's true. Bleep it, I guess. Yeah, it kind of changes the tone of the game for me, and like I was like I said, I thought the first one was just a metaphor for like mental illness that I thought was really interesting. This one's a little bit different, but I like the characters in it. Like Matt said or John said, the graphics are amazing. Jury's still out on the story. I like it so far, so we'll see. But I'm enjoying it quite a bit so far.
I do want to play Enslaved for the show.
That would be
like
fun. I like that game.
What is
That game's on
sounds
PlayStation
problematic.
Plus as a streamable game.
I've never heard it.
It's by
is that
Ninja
Odyssey
Theory.
to the West? Is that the one where
Yeah.
you're the Monkey
Yeah,
King?
that's the
It
one that's
is.
written by Alex Garland. You know, you don't play as a Monkey King. You play as a character named Monkey.
Yeah, but it's
Okay,
all
but
a
it's
reference to Journey to the
It's
West.
yeah. It's a
Yeah.
it's a reference to the.
You have a little floating platform
Yeah.
named Cloud. There's Pigsy.
I played a bit of that, but I didn't care
Yeah.
for it way back then because I didn't like the. There were like long climbing segments that were just like go
Oh,
on
yeah.
this climbing path, and I was like, this is boring as fuck.
There's
A lot of
Now
climbing.
every game does that though, so I get maybe I'm used to it now.
there's some
Final Fantasy does that.
FMV towards the end that Vanessa would love, but it
I
is
love FMV.
very surprising.
And then the last thing I want to talk about, I finished season 2 of Outer Range, which is a show about a hole that shows up on Josh Brolin's land.
It's about
a
Josh
mystery hole.
Brolin's hole.
It's about Josh Brolin's mystery hole. I will say season 2, a lot of stuff takes place, but nothing really happens. It's just about, hey, what's the deal with this hole? I don't know. Somebody's going to fall in the hole. Okay. And also like the hole is like a time hole. People fall in it and then they end up in different time periods and stuff. But also if you scoop the mineral out of the hole that's around the hole or in the earth when the hole is gone, and then you eat it, you eat the dirt. There's a lot of people eating dirt in the show. You gain like
Hole powers. Yeah,
for
like
some
hole
reason.
powers.
Yeah,
where
you get hole powers.
Is it like the spice melange? Like, do you see through time?
Kind of.
I think
Kind
that
of
you-
like people.
I think that you get the like strength and speed and agility of a hole. So
Oh.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
There's a scene where one of the characters is like severely injured, and do you guys know who Will Patton is? The actor who's in like everything.
No.
Will Patton plays the father, and his
Yeah, I
injured
recognize
son falls on the floor, and he's unconscious. What he does is he grabs a bag of this dirt, shoves it in his son's mouth, and then he puts it in his mouth, and then he kisses his son on the mouth, and then they both start hallucinating where the roof floats off of their house, and then the sun floats up in the air, and he and his dad are holding hands, and weird music starts playing. It's a very strange show.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty
So you're
pretty
saying
weird.
that Brolin has a magic hole?
He has a magic hole, yes. And
everybody wants to get in his hole or at least taste it.
Yeah. It stars Josh Brolin and Will Patton and Imogen Poots.
And Josh Brolin's Hole.
Imogen
Poots is pretty all right, actually. I think I've liked Imogen Poots.
I like Imogen Poots. I can't think of anything I've seen her in that I didn't enjoy.
But it's tough to get over that name.
Yeah, Imogen Poots. But yeah, it's I don't know. Like I said, nothing really, like no storylines really advance in the second season. You just get more background about the whole. And why people want it, and why everyone is trying to get this dude's land. They're trying to steal Josh Brolin's land. But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I hope they do a third season because I want to know more about the Hole. I'm addicted to the Hole.
Yeah.
I'm a Hole man now.
Jim loves Hole.
I do love Hole. So that's it for me. Matt, how did you level up?
Well, I'll tell you what. I didn't do a ton in this last week. I did watch a movie. It was called The Beekeeper.
Buzz.
This is a tough one to talk about because it manages to be both one of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen in my entire life, and also pretty great that I really enjoyed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
It has-
I
This is a
understand.
movie where
Phenomenal
Jason
action
Statham can turn into bees.
Yeah, he's got the proportional strength of a bee.
Oh, that's pretty strong. Can he only
no, it,
sting one time and then he dies? And
Yeah,
it
and then
rips
he
out
dies.
his-
Yeah.
That's how the movie ends. He stings Lucifer.
Oh.
Stings
The
then he
president.
dies.
It's an action movie. It's a Jason Statham vehicle. He's good
Vehicle?
and that was terrible. The action scenes are really good, and there's a lot of like over the top violence that's like really enjoyable. And there's a lot of him like going after like people that scam people's grandmas and stuff, you know? But it's also very tame where he'll be like, I'm gonna burn this fucking building down with everyone in it. You've got 5 minutes to get out. And then everybody gets out and he burns the building down. It does have one of the worst plots I've ever seen in a movie, both because it is just really stupid and absurd and like not in a good way, in a cringy way, but also like really right-wing. Is maybe the most right-wing thing I've seen in a long time.
You think so? Why do you think that?
100%. Not only do I think so, I'm positive. Like, I'm sure. Whoever wrote this fucking movie is absolutely a goddamn Trump voter. Like, it's wild. And I'll tell you what, a good chunk of the movie is devoted not to Jason Statham, but to a young FBI agent who, of course, is incompetent, and her partner, her older partner, who is also incompetent, and they're terrible at their jobs because, of course, the FBI is terrible at their jobs. It's a fucking right-wing movie. I don't know.
That happened
It's
in
a-
Indiana Jones as well, and that wasn't their
Yeah, well,
fault.
this one takes place now, not then. It's weird. It's a weird movie that, like, it's a hard one to, like, recommend. Like, if you want to turn your brain off and watch some action, it's a fun movie. If you want to think about the plot, or if you have qualms with being force-fed right-wing propaganda, ooh, it might not be for you, you know?
It might not be for you.
Look, Vanessa, there's blurry cat behind Matthew.
behind me?
Oh,
Yeah.
I see it. It's like
Non-blurry cat.
Oh, it unblurred.
He's stupid.
She's looking. She's hunting. Oh, there we go.
She's
outta
hunting
here.
She's hunting the door. She wants out of here. She had to get in, and now she's gotta go. I played a game. It was called Lil Gator Game. And I thought it was pretty fucking boring, to be honest with you.
You can't talk about that now. That's our bonus episode. What are you doing?
That's what I did. I didn't do a lot. What do you want from me? I watched some baseball. I don't have a life. I'm fucking lame.
You can't say lame. Only I can say lame.
I played Lil Gator Game because we're going to do it for the bonus. I'm just going to
Vanessa's
give you guys a
word.
quick preview. Thumbs down. It was fucking lame. Jim went from agreeing with me that it was like super boring to then deciding that it was maybe one of the best games he's ever played, and I don't get it. At no point was I like, this got better. It was terrible.
I'm gonna finish.
It wasn't
finish
terrible.
I'm gonna play a couple hours tonight, and
It wasn't
I should play a
terrible.
couple hours tomorrow night.
Like the gameplay was fun. I liked skateboarding around the world.
It'll be
Skateboard?
interesting to see what Johnny thinks, because it could be 3 against 1.
Yeah, it could be.
Whoa.
I don't know that Johnny's gonna like have a big cry session at the end of it and decided that he loves it. Because
I don't like
frankly,
Moshi's
Johnny's not
very
a very
much.
emotional man.
It wasn't
No.
a very, but also like it was very much like what I expected. So, all right. Well, anyway, that's how I leveled up. How about you, Johnny?
Me? Me?
Is that a magnifying glass in your hand without a lens? What is that?
Oh, this is it's for getting.
I'm searching for clues.
no,
Watson.
it's. I mean, you can, but it's for getting cat hair, and cats really like it. Like it just takes loose hair out of there. It takes without.
Oh,
pulling.
I should get one,
Yeah.
dude. This cat is nothing but. Why are you sitting on my
Anyway,
fucking speaker?
So, well, I've done a few things. I've edited about 40 minutes of my video now, but I had to put that down to concentrate on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Little Gator Game. So I will get back to this edit soon. However, I was capturing footage on my Xbox, and I bought an Xbox last year because my first Xbox, its chip started going, and it was starting to display like a weird, just blocky stuff instead of graphics. I'm like, yeah, that's the graphics processor. This Xbox is dead. So I got another one last year, but this drive suddenly died. So now I've got another Xbox.
Oh, man.
Xbox 3. I'm talking original Xboxes here. So they're not that expensive, and I got like the GTA series on Xbox. I've only played the PS2 versions, and they're pretty, like, graphically, they're pretty different on Xbox, and it controls way better on Xbox, like incredibly better. But I like the look of the PS2 games more. We'll talk, obviously that'll be more stuff for my videos because I'm reviewing every single open worldy, drivey, shooty action game that I can find and ranking them. Right now, number 1 is Saints Row the Third.
You're an outspoken fan of that game.
I love that game.
It's not shocking.
Yeah. The number and will Driver 3 be better than Saints Row the Third? Secret advance hint. No, it is the worst one I've
No, you're
played
supposed
so
to say
far.
tune in to find out.
Oh, sorry. Tune in to find out. But there's things I like about that broken, crappy game. Even like the celebrity performances are pretty good. Although testing out all the discs, because I bought the trilogy on Xbox of Grand Theft Auto games, Samuel L. Jackson's performance in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, I didn't give it enough credit. It is maybe one of the best video game.
Wow.
Actor
I didn't know he was in that.
performances. Yeah,
I had no idea he was in that.
He's like super threatening. Like the game gets
He
very.
plays a cop, right?
Yeah, he's the cop.
Tenpenny.
Tenpenny, exactly.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. That's a great
Yeah,
performance.
it's a really, really good performance. In Vice City, William Fichtner is playing the cokehead lawyer. It's
Oh, that's great. I love William Fichtner. He's great in everything.
yeah. So that I'll finish like 2 or 3 episodes and come back and talk about it next week because I've only watched the first half of an episode of Has Been Hotel, so I can't get too deep into that. And, but there's one thing I did want to talk about, and I think it's a Vanessa and Johnny co-level up.
Ooh.
I watched like 3 out of 5 hours of a video about Star Wars Galactic Cruiser.
I was just kicking myself for forgetting to bring that up. Yes, Jenny Nicholson, who's a great YouTube essayist, has finally released her video about the Star Wars Galactic Cruiser. I've been waiting for this video for like 2 years.
It's very long, and it does show like how weirdly disappointing for like the $6,000, literally $6,000 that you'd spend on this experience. And she had a particularly bad time. I don't know. I don't want to spoil this video if you haven't watched all of it, Vanessa.
No, I've watched all of it.
Like, she had a particularly bad time. Like, her app didn't work, and she wasn't sure if just the app doesn't work in general. Like, so her storylines didn't unfold properly. And she's too, because apparently you could go up to front desk and say, hey, I didn't get the storyline I want, but she was too nervous to do that.
Yeah. Well, and I think she also wanted to sort of portray the experience as it would be, you know?
Yeah.
Without trying to get special treatment. I would recommend absolutely watching her video because it really breaks down both like the history of Star Cruiser and the decisions they made, her own experience, and then sort of her thoughts about what Disney's done well in the past that they failed to do with Star Cruiser that probably made it not survive. But I'd also go look at Andrew Barth Feldman's video. He is an actor. He was in Evan Hansen. He was in, I think, a movie with Jennifer Lawrence where he's a virgin and she tries to sleep with him. I didn't see it. It looked weird.
I like that movie. And you also see Jennifer, what's her name?
Lawrence?
What's it? Did you see Jennifer Lawrence? Full frontal.
That's very exciting,
Thanks,
Jim,
Jim.
and I'm happy for you. And I'm glad that happened to you.
And what is the name of that movie? Just for my own reference, because I want to know.
It's Andrew Barth Feldman's YouTube, where he goes to the Star Cruiser because he had a wonderful time. And I think that he was sort of exactly the right audience for it, which is a Broadway actor going with other actors, and the actors on the ship knew he was a Broadway actor.
Oh, interesting.
And so, you know, he had a great experience because they kind of utilized his skills and got him involved in really fun ways. So I think it's important to probably watch both just to see the sort of variety of experiences.
Right.
But what Jenny said and what Barth Feldman has said as well is that the actors were all great. You know, no one I've seen ever has had a complaint about the actual performers who were doing these roles.
Well, Jenny had one complaint that at first she wanted to do a character, but it seemed like she got super bad vibes from her trying to play someone other than herself.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was from like the lead characters or just the other like crew on the ship.
Right.
Because I've definitely seen videos of the lead characters engaging with people's original characters and made up names.
Oh, okay.
But also she seemed to think that a lot of like college program students were kind of staffing the other roles. And I can see why a college student who isn't trained in improv would be thrown off by something like that.
Right.
But I don't know.
Especially if they're prompted to call them like Jenny instead of Lady Farlancula or whatever. Vanessa, so which path would you have been pretty, because I think this would have been a tough decision. You could go for pretty space princess hero or hang out with the English people on the dark side.
You have hit exactly my conundrum. Especially there were, you know, a few actors playing each of these roles, but one of the guys playing one of the like evil general guys was like just super exactly my kind of character actor. Like all sinister and Englishy and kind of vampy and over the top in a Vincent Pricey kind of way. And man, I would have loved to hang out with that guy. But I also want to be a pretty space princess. I think that they would have had to make me a custom, you know, double agent plotline where I could be a pretty princess, but, you know, trick the Imperial guys into hanging out with me.
Now, so Vanessa, The other thing about this experience is that I think it mixed like escape room ideas while also wanting to be at the level a 3-year-old could solve.
Right.
And I feel like if it succeeded, it would have had to split those two tracks. Like have the grown-up escape room hardcore side and the kids having fun with their heroes side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wish that they had offered like adults only weekends, not because I want to do weird
Wink.
things with the Imperial officers. I know that that is not their job.
Don't
They are improv actors, not workers.
Yeah, hardcore hit on the
Don't flirt
staff.
or hardcore hit on actors. It's bad. It's bad for you and it's bad for them. But one of the reasons I really didn't want to go, price aside, is that I felt like it would be a lot of sort of like reluctant dads and moms who were there because their kids want to go.
I think there'd be a lot of very into it dads and moms.
There could
From the
be,
videos I've
but I would
seen,
wanna...
the dads and moms are more into it than the kids. Like, they're kind of dragging around the
Yeah,
kids.
but from videos I've seen, it's like not everyone is in costume.
Right.
Like, I feel like if I could have gone with a group where I'm like, everyone's going to be willing to like role play and LARP and yes and things like that and wear a funny costume.
I'd be your
and be a funny
toady.
character.
I'd be your your sniveling second in command. Like, yes, mistress.
Oh, that would have been so amazing. I wonder how many hours a day it would have taken to make you into like one of those Porkins Porky pigs.
Probably too much, and that would be sweaty.
Probably too much, and you would miss out the whole experience.
It didn't sound like you had a lot of free time in that trip.
No. Yeah.
So anyway, it sounds really cool.
Well-
sorry for going on about Star Cruisers.
No, I mean, I think I love the concept of
Yeah.
it. I think that the way it was created didn't work. But I was happy that Jenny talked about the Kim Possible thing at Epcot, because I did that when that was there, and I loved it. It was fantastic. And I'd never played or seen Kim Possible. I have no connection to that franchise, but
I worked on a TV
just
movie
the
about
way
it
they
once.
integrated... the way they integrated the interactivity was amazing. So I know it can be done. You can marry technology and live performance in a fun way. They just didn't do it, Johnny.
I always mix up Kim Possible with that. What, I don't know. There's this lady who was in commercials in the mid 2000s that guys Jim's age have a thing for. I think Matt too. She was an insurance lady.
Are you talking about Pam, the insurance lady?
I don't know.
You're talking about
The, like,
Flo,
bouffant
yes.
hairdo? Oh, yeah, Flo.
Yes. Why do all
think
men your
Flo is
age
Kim
really like
Possible.
Flo? I always mix Flo up with Kim Possible. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I can't
why
imagine
do men
why.
your
That's a
age
bizarre
like
thing
Flo?
to mix up.
Well, it doesn't matter. Let's.
And why do you
I don't
confuse
care
a
for Flo,
teenage
so.
cartoon girl with a insurance mascot?
I don't know. She seemed to have superpowers or something. She had like a storyline.
Definitely
Flo or
did not
Kim
have a
Possible?
storyline.
Both of them? I thought Flo did. All right. Well, never mind. Let's move on to the quest log. Matthew.
No, we can't do that. We have two things to do first.
Oh. Okay.
Three things to do because I have to punch this cat into outer space.
Okay. So let's talk about the stream.
Yeah. Hey, Jim, John, and I have a side level up that we need to talk about.
Hey, I consider myself just as involved as you all are. Just because I've refused to
You
be on
left
the
after
screen
5
doesn't
minutes
mean
last
that I'm
night to go
not
to bed.
part of it.
We have a stream that we've been doing every Wednesday evening on YouTube. Currently, we are doing Chrono Trigger. Jim is playing, and John and I are pretending to pay attention. And you should definitely check it out. We're having a really good time. A lot of your favorite Square Roots listeners are in the chat, chit-chatting with us, and we're having fun. And yeah, right now we are doing Square Roots versus Chrono Trigger, and we just wrapped up Final Fantasy VI, and who knows what we'll do next. Anything's possible. Does anybody else want to add anything to that?
I'll come on the stream eventually someday, but I can't right now.
Mm-hmm.
My ankle's broken.
What's our YouTube channel called?
Square Roots
Nobody
Podcast.
knows.
Square Roots Podcast on YouTube.
It's true. And
it out.
Vanessa
Cool.
will update the art with my picture as soon as I
ankle's
get
unbroken?
James A. Castor to get her breakfast in bed.
Right, that was our deal.
Yeah.
I don't want him to stay. I want to make it clear that I'm not breaking my rule of hitting on actors and being creepy.
Well, you can. I mean,
Yeah, you just want him
Just
in your
want-
house, in your bedroom, by your bed. Okay.
he's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
bringing her breakfast.
He's just bringing me breakfast.
And will
He's
that
a-
breakfast include sausage?
He's a genie waiter, and yeah, I want the full English. What of it?
Yeah.
A second thing that we should announce
Sausage
is that
and beans.
Big fried tomato.
the Patreon poll has wrapped up, and your next Square Roots game has been decided. System Shock.
System
No.
Shock. Oh, I don't think it is.
System Shock did
No, it's not.
win.
It's Fallout 3.
Ah.
Hooray!
Vanessa's already played like 12 hours of it.
I've played 3 hours of it. I'm trying to get a good sense for the chunkers.
Ah.
Well, yep. Fallout 3. It will be our next game if this season ever wraps up, which I'm starting to suspect. it
This
won't.
game only has a certain amount of chapters, and there's only 2 left. So
It's
I
true.
feel like we're
close.
getting towards the end.
And that being said, now it's time to dive into the quest log. Quest!
Little quest log.
Ah! Quest log! Ah! That's terrible. Wow, cut that.
That will save every one of us.
Awful. Quest. Ah!
So
I'm a quest
we're back
log.
in the We're back in the tiny Bronco, which is now a little motorboat. It's a boat
Yeah,
now.
its wings
a
fell off
watercraft.
because there's a tiny cat and a slim vampire on board.
Yep.
Yeah, too heavy.
That was the dumbest thing that's ever happened. Now, Jim has written in the notes that now we can motorboat around dem titties.
No, I
Jim,
removed dem because I don't like that. No, thank you.
Sorry. We can motorboat around these titties.
Or those. Maybe those would be better.
Maybe yawn. Can we say motorboat yonder
How about
titties
yawn?
for titties
How
that are in
about
the
yawn?
distance?
Yawn titties.
Yawn
Yeah,
titties?
that's correct English.
Yawn is right. Oh, can we move on from this bit?
Now we finally got
No, we gotta go to
full
the gold
world
saucer.
fast travel. You don't have to fool with planes. You don't have to fool
Yeah.
with boats. You don't have to go to certain places. You can just go anywhere on the map. They should have done this a long time ago.
Ages ago. Yeah, I agree. But we got to go to the gold saucer. This whole chunker takes place in the gold saucer. That's new.
Wow.
Usually we're,
I mean, the end
we're out
doesn't.
traveling around.
The end takes place back at the boat.
Dun, 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 dun,
Does
dun,
it?
dun,
And isn't that how
dun,
most
dun, dun,
adventures
dun, dun,
go?
dun, 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 dun.
Where you spend whole chunkers
Okay,
at the gold
technically
saucer.
I haven't completed this chapter because I just found the cat and said that's it.
Okay, well, the only thing that's left is to go back to the boat, so you're not missing anything.
Oh, okay.
I think there is a cut scene, but
Yeah, it's fine. There's probably going to be like a Roche boss fight again that I didn't
Jim
realize.
didn't write it in the notes, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Jim decided to cut the notes early.
So the reason we are at the Gold Saucer is to get the Keystone. The Keystone is now owned by former museum curator, now Beefcake Dio.
Now, Beefcake
Dio-
Gold Saucer Manager, Dio.
It's in Dio's museum in the original.
I know. I'm just
Is it? I thought you found it on a like. I thought in the original you like at this point in the game they were like, well, you're gonna have to find that keystone, and you eventually find it in like somebody's house, just like randomly out in the middle of
No,
nowhere.
it's in Dio's like
don't you have
trophy
to fight
museum thing.
Dio and do all the Coliseum to get it?
You don't have to fight Dio, but I do think you have to do Coliseum matches to get
I thought there was a match against Dio.
And then Kate Sith steals it. And you get the original version of the chase scene that we get to do in this chunker. Because you see him going in and out of those different tubes. So we get to Gold Saucer. We go to the battle square, and we see signs that say there's going to be a big fight between Don Corneo and Dio.
Well, first we have to find Dio, and what I like is there's some good having respect for your intelligence, because if you look around, there's lots of signs saying Dio versus Corneo coming soon at the battle square, but they're never the camera doesn't zoom in on them and be like, can you figure out where Dio is? They're just part of the environment. I like that. I thought for once the game had some respect for me.
I liked it too, but I also intentionally went to every place that I knew he wasn't first.
Oh, what happens?
To see what was going on in every other square.
Does anything happen?
People tell you that Dio's not there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dio's like, hey, I have this keystone thing. You can have it, but you need to be my proxy fighters in this fight for naming rights, because I guess Dio is or not Dio, Don Corneo is just I own the gold saucer now for some reason. I don't fully understand where Don Corneo's claim originates from, but I guess it doesn't matter.
I'm sure there's intel you can find or something. I did there's a long listing about him wanting to change the name if you do assess on him, but it doesn't say how he had the leverage. It doesn't really explain that.
All right. Well, if you guys remember, Don Corneo was the violent sex pervert from the original, who has two hype men who follow him around.
They didn't rap last time.
Give him cool intros. They didn't rap last time. They did do some rhyming, but there was no rapping.
Remember how was it Roadblock and G.I. Joe would only speak in rhyme? I guess that's a little before Jim's time.
I don't know.
And Vanessa didn't watch G.I. Joe, but Matt probably remembers that.
Yeah, but he's not paying attention.
No, I'm not. What happened?
Do you remember how Roadblock and G.I. Joe would only speak in rhyme?
Oh yeah, it was amazing. And it was offensive rhyme.
Yeah.
All right, so we agreed to fight these guys for Dio, but first we're going to go to the hotel and get some rest. And we get now, finally, after investing in all of these relationship mechanics and doing all these side quests, a big payoff finally happens.
Well, we
get to go on our date.
I feel like you're skipping something here, which is that the game is whoever you've got the best relationship with is going to go on a date with you. And then also the game is hey, guess what, buddy? Guess what? We've opened up new quests in every fucking area. And most of them are tied to one character or another.
Two.
So if you want to get your relationship up with somebody, you should go do those quests.
And you know what I did?
And that's how we get
I Googled it.
more of Beck's badasses. And we get to go back to Shinra Manor.
There's a children's book.
Most importantly,
that I did.
we get to go. There's a children's book. I did that as well. But most importantly, we get to go finish the Queen's Blood quest.
Oops, I didn't do that yet, but I will.
Vanessa, do you want to talk about Queen's Blood, or are you not paying
Should
attention?
Should we wait until Jim and Johnny have
just
a chance to do it?
Just telling. It's fine.
I mean, Jim's already uninstalled the game. Jim's moved on with his life.
Jim told me he was going to go back and do it. He wouldn't go back on
drive
his
is
word.
only so
Understand
large.
Carnival.
You know what I don't understand is that Jim was like, I didn't want to do all that. And Vanessa was like, yeah, it's a lot. It's not. It's 2 extra fucking Queen's Blood games, and that's it.
But
Don't
the
you have
last
to play
one's
Card
hard.
Carnival?
No.
Oh, see, I was looking at a guide, and it says you need these cards
Well,
from
it's
Card
probably
Carnival
these are
to
the
be
best
your-
cards to win. But I already have a deck that I haven't lost a game with in 3 weeks.
Well, so did I, but that final fight, it's
final
a toughie.
fight cheats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it cheats. They go first, and they put down a card. They start with a card on the board that gets points every round. It's horseshit. But we did it, didn't we, Vanessa?
We did do it.
First, you have to go to Shinra Manor, where you find Vincent outside, and you have to play against him to get the Emerald Witch card. Why do you have to go to Shinra Manor to do that when he's in your fucking party?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, everyone says that the Emerald Witch, the legend goes that when the real queen was around being awful, the Emerald Witch defeated her and sealed her up in the Queen's Blood card, and only the Emerald Witch card can beat her. But you don't actually need to play the Emerald Witch card.
It's really not that good. It's okay.
I assumed it would nullify the Queen card because it starts with the Queen card on the board, and she gets stronger with every card that gets destroyed.
So can I just say the final match in Queen's Blood is in Gangaga in the ruins, and when you get there you find what's her name? Rhonda?
I don't remember.
Cisne?
Whoever the girl is who was
No, it's not Cisne. It's
pink hair.
It's the
pink hair who clearly hasn't dyed their hair in a while, which is the weirdest fucking choice for this game. To have a character who's got pink hair but also roots showing.
It's not a weird
the
choice.
Queen's
She's
Blood
having
lady from the
Regina. It's Regina.
Yeah.
Regina.
That's right, because that means queen. It's a hint.
Oh.
She is possessed. She's having a lot of emotional issues.
This really was a weird thing to me because she talks, when she's possessed, she talks about how she was so obsessed with never losing that she got drawn into getting this card that would make sure she never lost. But I kicked her fucking dick off on the cruise. And that was a week ago, I think, at most in game time. So what are you talking about? You already lost to me.
She went and got that card after she lost
a week
to you.
ago?
Yeah, this is all your fault.
The way she talks about it, it makes it sound like it's been a thing that's been going on for years.
Well, I think she's been resisting the influence of this card for years.
I think it's poorly written. But moving on. You find Regina in the ruins, and she is possessed by the Queen's Blood card, which I was convinced was going to be deeper lore. The way they described the Blood Queen or whatever she's called, to me sounded a lot like Genova. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that we were going to get some by doing this, we'd get some cool backstory and lore, because we know about Genova now. And Genova, 5 years ago. But what about Genova 1,000 years ago? We don't know anything about it. She's been around for a long-ass time. But no.
But it's not that. It's just some lady.
It's just some lady.
Some lady from the past. And we hear about how she was a great queen until one day she just decided to start, torturing her people. For
she
no
just became
particular
evil.
reason.
Didn't it say, she is the one who created all the monsters in the world, too?
Yeah, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a thing
Which,
they
again,
mention?
would make a lot of sense if she was Genova.
Maybe she was, and we're just too thick to pick up on it.
I mean, I don't think it's that we're too thick. I think that it just didn't follow through on it. I think that it hinted at it pretty heavily, but then goes nowhere. Because all that happens is that you play against Regina, and you win.
Mm-hmm. And then, the whole time, the ghost of the guy who made Queen's Blood has been telling you have to destroy the Shadow Queen card, you have to do it, and your whole goal in going there is to destroy the Shadow Queen card. And then after you beat Regina, you put the Emerald Sorceress card on the Shadow Queen card.
You throw
and you think, okay,
the Emerald
it's finally going to destroy it. Yeah.
You throw the Emerald Witch card at Regina like Gambit, and it sticks
That's
into
true.
her chest.
You impale it in her chest. You get the Shadow Queen card, and then she's like, wow, you cleansed the Shadow Queen card. Here's your reward, the Shadow Queen card. You don't destroy it, you get it. And
I thought it
then,
was weird that that Queen's Blood ghost guy is like an actual ghost in the ghost hotel in the Gold Saucer.
Well,
Yeah,
he's not.
he is.
He's not, because it's like a dude in a top hat, and he like overwrites the top hat ghost with himself when you find him in the hotel.
Ghost possessing a ghost? I've never heard of such a
Oh,
If
I
you
see.
go and look, he's not there. It's a different ghost. Here's the real weird thing. As is clear here, the reward for finishing this quest is this like unbeatable Queen's Blood card, because it just gains power every fucking round. But this is it. There's no more Queen's Blood to be had. Am I supposed to use this and just go replay Queen's Blood matches? What's the fucking point? What's the
There
point?
is, in the Golden Saucer, if you go to where the Queen's Blood arena is, you can play against Red one more time. So
That
there's
does
that.
not really answer my question of what the point is. Also, Red
Yeah.
was easy. Red was one of the easiest fucking matches in the game. Because he had a
It's,
cat who don't know how to play Queen's Blood.
Yeah. It's a pretty weird choice, I gotta say. I mean, I guess if you play New Game Plus, then you would
Yeah,
theoretically
I
have
mean-
it. But I'm not even sure if that's true, because it's like tied to the quest as a
I mean,
key item.
why would they not give you a reward for doing this that makes sense in the game? It's really
Yeah, because you
just
spend
bad.
so much time
it's just
doing
bad
it.
and dumb.
And it's fun to play Queen's Blood.
Queen's Blood's
but...
fun.
Yeah, I mean,
I played as much Queen's Blood as I could get my hands on.
Did you do all the card carnival stuff?
Give
I
us-
found that the Gold Saucer ones were a lot harder.
I did not. I did skip some of that. I think that when it was like, oh, we've reversed the board and now you're on the right, I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm good. But it didn't matter. I didn't need to do it.
Summon. Give us a summon. Give us a piece of equipment. Give us something.
Yeah, I really thought that maybe I'd get like a cool new
Or
summon.
sword for Cloud,
even a
and
cool
new
old
ability.
summon.
Like have the queen. That should be a great summon, right? The Queen's Blade Queen.
Yeah.
Should be awesome.
Well, let's write into
All
Square.
right. So, but before we dive into
Well, I'm going to write
the
some fan fiction instead.
date, we do have the option to go complete a bunch of quests. We certainly don't need to go through them
Yeah.
all. But are there any that anybody wants to talk about? Or Jim, are these later in the notes? I wasn't sure.
the
What is-
quests
The-
that unlock here.
The quests you can do here.
Oh no, I didn't put any of the side quests in the notes this time.
All right. So
we can do them still in Chapter 13, too, so they don't
Yeah.
all have to be done now.
I mean, we could
I
talk
can tell
about
you which ones I
there's a
did
couple
to
that are
get
fun
Barrett
here.
as my date of choice.
What did
Yeah,
you do?
tell us
I bet
about
one
one
of
of
them
your
was
quests.
Beck's
One was
Badasses.
Beck's Businesses. One of them
Beck's Businesses.
was the dog photo quest, which is maybe one of the best side quests in the game. I know I've ragged on the side
a
quest,
yeah.
but that dog photo quest was really good. And spooky.
You mean the one where you have
I
to take
need more
pictures of
information.
Red?
I don't know what the fuck you're talking
Oh, there's
about.
one where this lady's writing a children's book and she needs inspiration, and
Oh,
then you go
yeah,
take
okay.
photos of Red 13. I guess Cat. You call him a cat. You take photos of Red 13, and he does different heroic poses,
Nanaki is his name.
and it's really fun.
But I think it's important to note that Barrett, fangirls out over this children's author.
Yeah, he does.
He's
It's
like,
cute.
oh my
It's
God,
so
you're my
cute.
daughter's favorite author. I can't believe I met you. You're writing another story. That's so amazing. Oh, you need
Also-
some inspirational photos. Will totally, absolutely help.
Despite what the
Screw-
game says, because Red's name is still Red 13, I noticed that Barrett has started calling him
Yeah, I
Nanaki,
like that.
which I really
Yeah.
liked.
Yeah, this is a great.
Did you guys
Barrett
notice
quest.
it when you see the children's book or see the pictures that she draws at the end? It's basically just the Lion King.
No,
Like
His head in the clouds.
It shows him on a pedestal above the other animals, and he's like proudly looking down on them. It's just the
So it
Lion
has this
King.
bullshit minigame
Yeah.
where they describe a feeling that you want him to evoke, and then you have to look around for landscapes that sort of evoke it in poses. I really like that. That was really fun. it gives you like a location with 3 choices, and you have to figure out. And it you can't really fail it because it tells you if it works or doesn't work, so you can redo it if you get it wrong.
Yeah.
So I made her the best damn children's book inspiration photo collection you'll ever see. She loved it. Nanaki had a great time. But I also did the Scooby-Doo quest where there's a strange voice coming from Shinra Manor. That's another Barrett quest.
Oh, I didn't do this one.
That was irritating.
It was a real Scooby-Doo ending where it's like, oh, it's just a monster.
Yeah.
It doesn't. You don't even hear the monster make that sound, and the sound it's making is like the music from Shinra Manor.
Mm-hmm. And then you find a combat simulator, and you can do some combat simulations if you want to.
Like, come on,
Nobody wants to do that.
No one wants this Hojo VR stuff. It should have been like something about Vincent's dumb dead wife or whatever.
Yeah.
Dead wife.
Lenore? Is that her name? Lucretia, that's it.
What a goth name.
I did like the Beck's Badasses businesses quest.
It was amazing.
I like that.
Anyone who says it wasn't amazing is
mad.
wrong. The best part about it is you go to see Beck and his businessmen, and they're recruiting, and they give you a job interview, and it's amazing. Mm-hmm. Like, you sit down, and they're like, so, what are your special skills, Cloud? What kind of experience do you have? You have, like, 3 choices that you can answer.
I took it seriously.
I love when he asks you, he's like, you're a mercenary, correct? Is that your current job? And if you choose to not answer, he brings up his clipboard and he goes, "Oh, unemployed then."
Yeah, you can choose to not answer any of these questions, and I chose that, and he's shitty about all of them. And also, you know what? This was entertaining enough, but at the same time, anytime Beck's badasses are on screen, I want to be on another continent. I hate this.
They did turn into a motorcycle gang at the end.
What? They did, yeah. They joined up with another motorcycle gang.
Bikers.
And went back to Midgar, right?
They went back to crime?
Yep.
They found that doing business just wasn't that lucrative, and they liked the motorcycles better.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and this other gang showed up, and they're, like, attacking Beck's badasses, and then they cry, and they're like, why would you attack us? And they're like, because we really looked up to you, and we're so sad that you aren't badasses anymore. So it was pretty emotional.
Cool. Yeah, cool message.
I did like that all these quests were like
terrible.
two characters. They were like you improved your relationship with 2 characters.
What do you mean? I didn't experience that.
Yeah, well, like I don't know about Beck's Badass, but definitely the Nanaki storybook one was Nanaki and Barrett. The Ghost House was Vincent and Barrett. And there's always like 2 characters in these ones.
Wait, you can't improve.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it
Vincent.
is, but it was definitely pairing 2 characters with you instead of just 1, and so it was 2 characters in every cutscene.
All the quests I did were only 1. And the quest that I did was Tifa's quest, which was tied to Chocobo Billy.
Ooh.
He has gotten you an invite to the, what is it called, Jim? The Gold Chocobo race?
Gold Cup?
Yeah, the Gold Cup. But to get there, you have to do all the other Chocobo races. So I did 18 fucking Chocobo races.
What's great about doing the Chocobo races is you can't come 2nd or 3rd and have it count as completed. Mm-hmm. You gotta come first.
Mm-hmm. Like most men, you gotta come first. And, you know, I like the Chocobo racing. I think it's pretty fun. It's Mario Kart-esque. But I gotta say, like, I should have done some of it earlier because I had way too much to do and was real burned out by the end. And then the Gold Cup turns out, which I didn't realize going into it, is a 3-leg race. So like a lot of stuff in this game, if you're getting towards the end of something, you can, like I had the same experience in Queen's Blood. I can hit start and just retry the whole thing.
Oh, but if you retry that, it's all 3.
Well, so here's the thing, John. I don't know. It took me multiple tries to get the first place in the first Gold Cup leg. And then the second Gold Cup leg, I was unsure if I hit retry, if it would take me back to the first one. But luckily, in the second one, I managed to, on my first try, get first place. And because it's based on points, I was kind of looking at it like, well, I could get second or third place in the third leg of the Gold Cup and still win. And in the last leg in the last lap of the last leg, I was in like 7th place and was like, I'm fucked. And somehow managed to pull it out of my ass and come from behind and get first place on my first try of the third leg of the Gold Cup.
Jim, can you imagine getting like all 3 first places in each leg?
Yeah, I can, because I did it.
Yeah, me too.
I was a drifting pro.
I wish we could play.
Okay, but that's not as fun of a story as my story. It's fun and had some ups and downs, and who knows what's going to happen. I don't know. Do either of you know if you restart one of the legs after 1, does it kick you back to 1, or does it restart that leg?
I don't know. Never
What do you
had
mean by
cause
leg?
to.
You mean like?
That's what they call them. They call it a
Yeah,
leg.
because it's 3 races in a
The
row.
Gold
like
Cup
the-
is 3 legs.
It's 3 different races, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
3 legs of 1 race.
Yeah. I think it lets you start at the beginning of that leg. But don't quote me on that.
I don't know. I didn't.
I'm going
I had to
to.
redo
Let's send it
Okay,
into
quote me.
IGN
'Cause
for their quotes
if you tried
section.
restarting during the parade, it made you restart from the beginning. That's why I think Matt might be right.
I don't know. I was never sure. I felt like the first leg was the hardest. I managed to pull out the other 2 legs. But I got it, and I got Tifa, who was already, I think, the highest, but I think I said this last week. I was tied with Tifa and Nanaki, and I was real worried it was going to make me go on a date with a dog. So I felt like I had to get one more Tifa relationship point in there. And I did. And then I went on a date with Tifa. Who did you go on a date with, John?
I went on a date with Barrett. My dream. Jim, who did you end up going on a date with?
I went with Tifa.
Okay, so 2 Tifas.
What a loser. Just a copycat. Like, but
Oh, come
I already
on.
got Tifa.
Tifa is Jim's thing. It's been Jim's thing for the whole...
And also, technically, I did my date a long time ago.
Wow, you're right. I got sloppy seconds.
Actually, Matt, you got sloppy thirds there, bud, because I also went on a date
What?
with Tifa.
You didn't go on the date with the dog?
No, I wish.
I believe, Vanessa, that's called trashy thirds.
All right, you got trashy thirds.
Well, I'm glad
Wow,
that
so we
I
just
did
John,
something
I wanna
different.
three
know
Tifas and a
about-
Barrett? No Aerith? Really?
Yeah, no Aerith.
Nope.
No Yuffie? Can Yuffie be a thing? I mean, I don't want it to be. She's a teenager, but
Yuffie, you
She
can
can
go
be
on
a
a date
thing.
with Yuffie.
But I don't think
I
it's
know you can
romantic.
go.
It's
already
cute.
mentioned in the stream last night that you can go on a date with Kate Sith, which
In New Game Plus.
I know, that's my
the
second.
Kate Sith
I do
date,
love Kate Sith.
The Kate Sith date is actually combined. Kate Sith and Vincent and Sid are all one date.
Yeah, it's boys' night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you're in the Skywheel with all of them.
Oh, that's fun.
It's not actually possible to get that in your first playthrough.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was worried because I'd maxed out Aerith first accidentally. And I was like, okay, well, hopefully...
Actually, can I just? I'm sorry, John. Can I just ask how would you get a date with them? Because you can't. I don't think you can affect Kate Sith's.
Maybe in New Game
Relationship
Plus you
with
can?
you.
You can only get it by doing the New Game Plus and doing select a chapter. And when you select chapter 12, you can pick who you want your date to be with.
Oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. Kind of, because I'm not going to do it, but it's cool.
Well, it's a way for you to see all the dates without having to go through the whole game trying to fiddle with people's relationships, I think.
I'm a little bummed that nobody got Aerith because I'm very interested in the differences there. But Johnny, please tell us about your date with Barrett.
All right, so I first Cloud went to sleep because I think Cloud is the first real video game representation of someone who gets a lot of headaches and needs a lot of naps. You know, there's never been that kind of representation before. Never before has a video game hero been like, I'm not going to go with you guys. I just really need to sleep.
I like it. I feel seen.
Yeah, exactly. So I get a little, I have a little dream about Zach Fair and seeing through his eyes. Did that happen to you all? Or seeing through Cloud's eyes there. And it sure seemed like Cloud was about to like move or talk. Like things were getting a little interesting there. And
he sees like Aerith and Marlene.
Yeah, Marlene's got some like psychic connection to Aerith, and she's like, I don't want her to wake up because if she wakes up, then a man will kill her. And he's like, oh, which man? He's got long gray hair.
Yeah, this was a reference to. I think this was a reference to something that happened in Remake, right? Didn't Aerith and Marlene have like a moment in Remake?
Yes, they did.
They did, yeah.
I appreciated
when the
them
plate was coming down,
circling back around to that finally. Like,
it seems like a lot of the changes that happen in Remake are being sort of shuffled off to this side reality, which is interesting.
Yeah, like, but what changes though?
Oh, that like Biggs didn't die. Although it's sure implied that Jessie didn't die because of the glove, and they're still a little they're still a little coy about that. Unlike with my dream.
I don't
boy.
know. I felt like by the end of this chunker, like they had pretty definitively put like
she seems pretty dead, but maybe in that other reality she's not. But you never heard her go splat like my dream boy did, Wedge.
You would think he would have bounced.
Wow.
Well, most people bounce, Johnny. People bounce.
Vanessa.
No, it's people bounce, Johnny.
Anyway, so
I'm just saying I would have expected less of a splat and more of a boing.
Anyway.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm done defending you.
Yeah, I knew where you were going with that, Matt. I knew.
Do you want to get your tuba out and play it
exactly.
for us here? Or?
She'll play it for his funeral.
Play it while he falls down.
As they're lifting his casket to the grave.
Yeah. Well, and then obviously he would flop out of the bottom of that coffin and again bounce off the ground.
Yeah.
Naked.
And they need like 20. According to Vanessa, they need like 20 pallbearers, and they're all still struggling with it because Vanessa is so cruel. Anyway,
Vanessa's been making a lot of I think you should leave references lately, and I think that she may have become a sneaky fan of the show.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
I'm not.
Is it? I think it's because
What are you talking about?
the Tables girl is now friends with James A. Caster.
She was on Off Menu, and it was really great.
Anyway, so Barrett knocks at the door. And he's like, "Hey, do you want to go out?" And Cloud's like, "What? Just you and me?" He's like, "Don't make it weird. Let's go." And so they go out, and he decides he's got like a special ticket to Loveless. And as I mentioned before, plays are a little different in this reality. Plays instead you sit down, so you're still sitting in the theater, but instead of just watching actors like some kind of boring dum-dum, you put on.
Yeah, I thought Chadley had like invented the MetaQuest in this universe, but apparently it's commonly
Everyone's got MetaQuests.
Commonly used
Yeah.
stuff. There's no televisions in this world, but everybody's got a
there are.
MetaQuest.
Yeah, there's old styles tube
televisions all
TVs
over.
and bars and stuff. Because that was in the original
I
game.
was watching the news on it.
Yeah. But yeah, like a lot of places have old CRT. That's what I liked in Remake, and I feel like they didn't carry this through to Rebirth. In Remake, it was a lot of 90s technology, which I really liked. that everything seemed kind of root. I think because it was so heavily inspired by the original art that everything seemed a little old in a fun way. Anyway, so Barrett takes you out. You sit next to each other and slide on your VR glasses and
slide your hand into his.
No, well, that
He doesn't have a hand. He has a gun.
Slide your arm around his fucking massive guns.
You joke. There is a moment of almost hand touching that was like something out of Modern Family, but we'll talk about that in a second. I have to describe the whole date. Now, if you've seen the Star Wars Holiday Special and remember a scene where you just sit and watch people watching someone dance, that happens in this game. But honestly, it's a nice dance.
I know you just described like half of the shows on television. It's just watching people dance.
It's true.
You know what? I stand corrected.
Dancing with the Stars?
Not just...
So
is that not what going to a play is? Is just watching people dance?
Right. But it just like watching a VR creation of watching someone dance did happen to the Star Wars Holiday Special. And for some reason, I just really got real Star Wars Holiday Special vibes from this moment.
You know, John, I've never actually watched
It's terrible.
I mean, that's what I've always heard, so why would I bother?
I mean, it's fun to watch with friends. If we ever hang out, we should watch it, Matt. It's pretty funny.
That could be a fun little bonus, but...
Yeah. I like it.
When's the next Life Day?
Yeah, next Life Day. So you see Jessie dancing with another dancer, and it's very well captured, very well shot. A very nice cutscene.
It's very like modern dance, right? Like
Black
what's that
Swan.
show? I used to watch it with my
Or do you remember when Coco
wife.
Chanel?
So you think you can dance like the modern?
Oh no, it's I can't. Coco from Drag Race. I can't remember. Montrese, is that her last name? And
from Dragon Ball, Vegeta. Are you talking about Vegeta?
Hold on, let's see.
I don't know that we need to look this up.
Yeah,
John.
we do. Coco.
None of us watch Drag Race.
We're an hour and a half into this recording, and we are 2 bullet points into this 40 bullet point note list.
Oh, you're right.
Well,
Jim has
someone wanted to
stormed
talk about
off in
side
anger.
quests.
It was Coco Montrese and Alyssa Edwards did an epic, dramatic, like they buried the hatchet. They had years of back history, bad blood between them, and they did the most beautiful dance performance. But a lot like this kind of modern art, like no irony, really good dancing they did together. And it was beautiful. And it reminded me of that. However, I was pretty intoxicated, so I didn't pay a whole lot of attention when I did this part of the game. I'm sorry, listeners. I let you down. Anyway, so the dance happened. I watched some of it. I need to rewatch it, I think. But then the part that you do have to pay attention to is part 2. But in between, Barrett takes off his VR goggles for a moment. He's crying. He's trying to look away from you. He found it very moving. He sees the disembodied ghost of one of his best friends. It makes sense that he's upset.
Yeah.
Especially doing something that poignant.
I feel like Tifa here was like, she was a real star, wasn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Until you recruited her into your war against Shinra.
Now, before we went to the hotel, there was a moment where I did walk into Aerith, and I was worried that it was about to bring me into an Aerith date because she was practicing her lines or something, or writing a song. Did that happen to you?
She was writing a song, and Kate Sith was really encouraging her. Mm-hmm. He, peeks over her shoulder and is like, wow, that's so great. Mm-hmm. And then I think he steals her song and runs away with it.
Hey, Pepsi brother.
What's up, Pepsi?
Diet Pepsi brother.
Guys, it's too late at night to be drinking Pepsi.
I have to work tonight,
caffeine?
buddy. I'm working.
There's no caffeine.
There is caffeine. There's like a third a cup of coffee of caffeine in a Diet Pepsi.
Oh my god,
that's okay.
It's not that much.
I took some anxiety medication too, so it'll balance out.
Exactly. So we've got they warn you, or they're like, now we're taking the idea of putting yourself into the play to the next level with our performance, and you put your goggles on, and okay, I want you all to explain this to me. Cloud inserts himself into a performance. Does every audience member have to perform this, or is every audience member watching Cloud? Like every other person
I
in
want
that
you
auditorium.
to explain something to me. Is the voice actor portraying Cloud terrible, or is he intentionally being terrible here?
I think it's
intentionally
Yeah,
stilted.
I think it is a
Okay.
little stilted on purpose because he's like. So, do you think
He's not an actor.
when you go see a performance of Loveless, do you have like?
I don't think so. I don't. I think that they pick somebody to be the main character.
Oh,
because
okay.
I didn't get the impression that Barrett felt like his version was that he was the hero.
Right. Oh, that makes sense.
Maybe every audience member is represented on stage, even if they're just a prop. Like one audience, like Cloud's the main character, and then one audience member is his sword, and then somebody's like Barrett's shoulder piece.
Maybe they
I
take
took
groups
it more
of people,
as like,
and it's
yeah,
like
it goes by group.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
like your row of people.
So all your friends who are here.
Although-
I did have a moment where
Yeah, but like
I was
we
like,
weren't there with our
Yuffie-
friends. We were there just with Tifa. They were there, but we were there with Tifa.
yeah,
right?
but all your
Yeah.
friends, I
Barrett.
assume, were in the audience in other seats because, like, at one point I was like,
No, you see him
yeah,
around.
Yuffie's there, Sid
Yeah.
is there. But
You
I don't
see
get
everyone.
the impression that Sid and Yuffie actually participated in the show, so maybe they do just all watch Cloud.
No, and when Aerith has her song, Sid falls asleep. So clearly he's not. But then also we get a cut
Johnny.
scene of them like grabbing Aerith and being like, "Do you want to be the one that sings the song?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because Kate Sith like sets her
Mm-hmm.
up to be.
It would be
sing
great
her
if she was
song that she's
terrible at
written.
it.
There was
really,
one
honestly,
moment
Jim,
where I was
that would
like-
have been way better. If she was
Like if she
flat
sounded
voice.
like when Fergie sang the national anthem that one time, and it was really off key. That would be
Matt, when I've typed this into group chat, I was like, "Oh, Chadley's in this." That was a joke, especially for Matt, because
Yeah, Chadley's in fucking everything. Chadley's the biggest breakout character of the fucking Final Fantasy VII Remake series for some reason.
Well, at
and I
least-
can't
it is-
understand why he's not just a fucking AI assistant or something, and instead is a little robot boy that
he's
just
not
has
a
to
robot;
talk
he's
to
a
you constantly.
cyborg.
It is pretty great that he just happens to be at this performance of Loveless, like enjoying
Well, as
it
we
in the
discussed
back.
last week, he always gets to wherever you're going before you. So I assume that he's just got like rocket
like
rocket
Astro Boy.
boots, and it's just like Astro Boy. He's just constantly flying around ahead of you.
So
Would you rather fight Chadley in the third installment or
Yes.
have Chadley in your
No,
party
fight.
with little
Fight.
rocket boots?
I would like Chadley to be the final villain of this game.
so I've got so I wasn't sure when I sort of
Like
chatted
you go to
about
fight Sephiroth,
this
and then he like laughs,
show.
and it just transforms into Chadley.
What if like Genova absorbs Chadley like the
yeah.
thing, and like it's a gross like Chadley monster at the end? He's like, kill
What
me,
if Chadley's
Cloud.
the meteor?
Ooh.
And Mai is
Yeah,
still
as
because
the
Mai
meteor
is
gets
VI
closer-
only. Mai is still like
Cloud.
Cloud. And it's his
Chadley
face
as
on the meteor like
I want to
Majora's
see
Mask.
Chadley hurtling towards her.
Like when
Yeah,
they
that's what
would put the
Chadley is.
baby face in the moon on Teletubbies.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
comet coming down with Chadley's face on it.
I want to see. I want to look up at the meteor and have it look back at me and go, "Cloud."
Yeah, exactly.
Cloud, I'm gonna destroy the planet.
You've been slacking
Cloud,
on
the
intel
planetary
lately.
data I gathered helps me to destroy it.
So Matt, it seemed like Matt and I had kind of different performances. I don't know, but it sounds like Barrett's all. I wasn't sure if Barrett was always in it or if the bad guy was different every time. But it sounds
So
like
he's the bad guy, right? He's Valvados
he
or
was
whatever.
in my version, so I assume he is in
And he's the
Yep.
and Red is or Nanaki is his like
Hellhound.
buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
Tifa's
that's the
the
same.
beautiful princess.
So is Tifa always
No.
the beautiful
No,
princess?
Aerith was my beautiful princess.
What?
and she also sang the song.
well,
where
that's
was Tifa?
ridiculous.
Tifa wasn't in this.
Oh, really? So we the three of us were on the date with Tifa, and she was the
Yeah,
princess.
no, Aerith, 100% beautiful princess.
Cloud grabbed her by the boobies.
And
Bitch, I
yeah, so
slapped her.
you wake up
Her on
in
the
a prison
boob.
cell and Cloud you can practice a little bit and do a little bit of singing about yourself, and at least this game, like the button prompts are always on the right, the face button side of the screen, so like squares on the left and triangles on the up and X's on the bottom and circles on the right. That
did make it a lot easier that the prompts were always located on the side of the screen that that matched the side that the button was on.
Exactly.
This is an amusement park game. This isn't serious business time. They want you to succeed.
Anyway.
Cloud. Who does Cloud play in this play?
Alpha Node?
Alfheim? Alpha Node?
Yeah.
No, he's...
That's a Final Fantasy 14
I put it
reference.
in the notes.
Alphonse?
Alfide?
No, it's Alfred. It's pronounced Alfred.
Alfred.
Yeah.
Alfred. Yeah, so he comes up and he's like... so you get to the
well, you get
villain.
this you get this set up by Kate Sith, who plays the fool who's narrating.
I like that.
And it says that this is all taking place in a city called Guardia, which also is the name of the kingdom in Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, I thought about that too.
Fun.
But I was like, ooh, are they going to make a lot of Chrono Trigger references? That'd be fun, but they don't really.
No.
I wondered if the character names Alfred and
It sounds familiar.
Barbados, were they from another game?
Because Aerith was playing Rosa. Was Tifa Rosa, or was she a different character?
She was Rosa.
Okay. So Aerith is there, and Barrett is there in some fucking you know what? I'm still upset about the lack of Speedo. That was some fucking sexy ass armor. A+. That was like Francis Ford Coppola weird Dracula armor levels of hot armor.
Ooh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, I was a big fan of Tifa in this like maiden outfit.
Well, I was a big fan of Nanake and his hell dog outfit.
That was fun too.
He plays
He just
Garm.
had like different colored fur.
So you get up to him and he's like I guess he wants Rosa to be his wife, and you have a little singing dance battle with him. That's pretty fun. And Cloud sings.
Yeah, and you have to...
Yeah, it's another QTE thing, which I think is this the third one of these in this game?
Maybe.
There was one in the first one, and it felt like everybody loved the Honeybee Inn scene, and they were like, well, more of that.
Because
you do it in
none of these
Junon, and
were
you do it
nearly
here.
as good.
Mm-hmm. And then you're given the hardest choice that I had to make in this game. I support Cloud and Tifa as a couple. I wanted to go on the date with Tifa. I was happy that I got her. I didn't really try for it. I just
let it happen.
Let fate happen. But it shows you Barrett, Nanake, and Tifa all in a row, and it says choose your love. And it was so hard for me to choose Tifa. Because it would have been so funny to choose Nanake or Barrett.
Why didn't you then?
I was worried it would mess up my date, but I really wanted to pick Nanake.
That would have messed up your date 100%. She'd just be sitting on Barrett the whole time like, so why'd you choose the dog over me?
Yeah.
John, who did you
choose
here?
Barrett, John?
So I, of course, chose Barrett. And for my choices were Barrett the dog or Aerith. And I chose Barrett, and so Cloud's like, my love. I need to declare my love for you, Varvados. And Varvados is like, what? Really? And then he's like, and then he reaches his hand for it, and there's this like long close up of Barrett's giant hand and Cloud's giant hand about to touch, and then suddenly Barrett pulls it away. He's like, no, love is not true. This is all a lie. And he's very upset, and you have to do another dance battle against him. But it was
dance battle.
That was some real Modern Family, like, well, we can't actually show them touching because the Midwest audience will reject our show and complain to the network. But they were so close to touching. Their hands.
I don't know why you keep referencing Modern Family. Like, that show had an openly gay married couple
who never fucking touched till season 6, Matt. Yeah,
really?
It's really weird.
I didn't watch that show much, so I don't know. But
But yeah, it was one of those. Yeah, I maybe it was season 3. I know that they at one point they kissed in the background of a shot, and that was the big moment. Like, and you,
Ooh, Lord.
yeah, it was really bad. Anyway, so Barrett and you fight, and you defeat Barrett, and then you get a choice of who do you want to learn more about. Kate Sith says that he is a seer and can read the hearts of anyone in this room, and the anyone in this room is a dog or Aerith, so I chose the dog. But unfortunately, it just gave you like battle tips against the dog. It wasn't like showing the dog's wants and needs and likes or anything.
I had Tifa instead of Aerith. I chose Tifa, and it basically is like, well, you're destined to part.
Aw.
Which is kind of a bummer.
Mm-hmm. But this isn't you and Tifa. This is Alpha Node and Rosa.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like the.
Or is it?
There's Red's character's name is another like Norse reference. His name is Garm, named after Garmr, who was the dog who guarded the gate to hell in Norse mythology.
A real Cerberus, whichever is the correct one.
I'm just happy for Red. I bet he's having a great time doing this.
He seems to be he gets to be
Did you guys
growly.
read the notes about Red's character here? I wonder who put this. It says Red bites a little bit of Cloud's dick off.
Mm-hmm.
It says, but he doesn't swallow it. He spits it on the ground, and you get a 90-second sequence of Red licking it over and over and over again.
I guess I didn't choose that option because I missed out on that scene. That reminds me of what I thought was the funniest thing I ever saw when I was 9 or 10 in Pee-wee's Playhouse, where he's like, "It's time to feed the dog," and he makes empties a can of dog food and squishes it up, and it's just like full sound effects of just like. And he puts the plate down in front of the dog, and then like extra zoomed close up, you see the dog eat the wet dog food with full sound effects for a minute, literally a minute, and it just keeps cutting to Pee-wee going like, "Oh."
That's great.
I have to assume that whatever Pee Wee Herman's real name was jerking off in the background.
No, he liked gay porn.
Paul Rubens.
He
jerked off one time in a porn
That's
theater.
what you do there.
That's what they're there for.
He denies those allegations. He says that
Who hasn't
he says that
jerked
he
off in
was
a porn theater?
He could not have been jerking off because the allegations state that he was using his non-dominant hand, and only like 2% of people jerk off with their non-dominant hand.
It always feels weird.
If anyone is gonna do it, it's Pee Wee Herman.
He's a performer. He can do it all.
Hey, can I tell you guys a weird thing I just learned? I am part of 2% of people.
Huh. Well, I kind of swap things. Sometimes I swap things out.
Add that to the Matt wiki.
Yeah, little grape nuts. Likes to do the stranger.
Hang on. Let me just test it out. Let me just see.
No.
Oh yeah, that feels right. That feels right.
Put that away.
Yep, that feels right.
This is a workplace, Matthew.
I can't imagine using my right hand to jerk off. That sounds bizarre.
Oh man. So after the big battle, we get what I thought was the most boring scene, which is Aerith singing.
Oh yeah.
So boring.
What a fucking nightmare to listen to this song. It's like a full-blown fucking pop song. Like the amount of time and money they spent animating this fucking scene of Aerith singing some Z-grade fucking Taylor Swift knockoff pop
And it doesn't
song.
even have like the crescendo of 1,000 words where it's like, one silver wings, 1,000 words, take through the ages. It wasn't like that. It wasn't this amazing bop. It wasn't, straight fire. It was just kind of a boring ballad.
She didn't slay.
No.
She didn't slay.
No, fam.
You know what? I
She
know I
was
missed
not
this part of the discussion
lit.
when I went to change my shirt and take my contacts out a minute ago. But seeing the ballet part earlier, like where Jessie is singing, seeing CGI characters do bendy movements with their bodies, it disturbs me. Like it's like Uncanny Valley for me. Seeing them do it, I don't like it at all. It makes my stomach feel weird.
So
I'll be honest with you, Jim. I just kind of nothing to that scene. Like I was
Now-
cool. Like it felt like watching a round one. So you think you can dance episode, where you're just like cool. Like you can pop and lock it, I guess.
Yeah, like I love dance, and I did not feel like that was anything I needed to see. The one thing I did love about Aerith's song is that while she's singing it towards the end, she starts to, like, I guess, shoot life stream out, and so there's green life stream all throughout the room. It floats around, it floats past Chadley.
It's a metaphor for squirting. I mean,
What?
just
Yeah.
that we're all on the same
Matthew.
page.
Warding.
It squirts past Chadley, and then in the very back of the room, you see, I guess, the force ghosts of, like, Wedge,
Yeah.
Jessie, and Biggs,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
they're
the
just standing
dead
there
friends.
together, like, nodding, and Chadley turns and looks at them, which
Yeah.
I thought was
Oh,
super
no.
creepy.
It's like on Happy Gilmore when he gets his grandma's house back at the end and he looks up and it's Abraham Lincoln, the crocodile, and Chubbs, who died earlier in the movie, and they're just waving at him from the clouds.
And Barrett does put his arm. This isn't a joke. Barrett puts his arm around Cloud, and they're like swaying together. I don't know if that happens on yours.
Oh, wow.
Maybe that's just if you're on a date.
No,
No.
Like they aren't romantically. It's
no,
just
we got
like,
awkward Cloud and Tifa.
oh,
They were like
Yeah, I had
bumping the
Cloud and-
backs of their hands together.
Yeah, they didn't hold hands, but they rubbed hands.
I appreciate the fact that this is a remake of a game that initially and essentially is made for like teens, but like I got a real tough time with these 20 somethings that like can't admit their feelings and refuse to just like touch
this
each
can't
other.
be made for
like,
teens. Cloud
Have you
keeps
seen
saying
what teens
S.
watch?
Just fuck.
He keeps saying S
Just
all the
fuck
time.
Riverdale.
already.
Those Riverdale teens are walking around in their underwear all the time.
Okay, so we're done. We're done in the event square. We saw the performance. Wow, what a performance. Standing ovation. So great. Okay, moving on. We have to go to Skywheel. They're like, oh, there's an event going on at the Skywheel. Go to the Skywheel square.
They specifically, they're like, if you had a ticket to Loveless, you get a free ride at the
that's
Skywheel.
right, yeah. And we get to
did
go.
kind of.
have
I don't know if it
romantic
matters, Jim. If you want to go back to it, we don't have to. But we really skipped over the whole Zach scene. Like we mentioned, it happened, but we didn't talk about anything.
Yeah, well, I'll touch on it really quick. So Zach is at Aerith's house, and Elmira asks him to go check on Cloud, and Marlene is up there, and she's like, hey, you need to make sure Cloud wakes up, because if Aerith wakes up and Cloud is still asleep, then there's no one to protect her, and she's probably going to die. And then you're like, I need to help Cloud, and Zach thinks the only person that can help is Hojo, but he doesn't tell Elmira that. He's just like, hey, I need to go. I'm going to go find some help for Cloud. And he goes to leave, and he goes to his little dirt bike, and there's a note on it from Biggs that was like, hey, I'm going to blow up the Sector 6 reactor. The Sector 6 reactor. And he's like, oh, no, that's bad. And then he goes back, and he tells Elmira what's up. And I think that's the end of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
I think Guardia is also
We did
the
it.
kingdom from Shining Force.
Oh, Shining Force, that's not a Square
Nope,
property.
that's
though,
a
is it?
Sega Climax Studios game.
Yeah. Is Game Arts the developer that did Grandia?
Yeah. And Lunar.
Okay.
I'm going to cut this conversation short because who cares? They do imply that Biggs has decided to go bomb another reactor.
Yeah, he's gonna bomb Sector 6 reactor.
They don't imply, they straight up
Yeah,
say
he's
it.
addicted
He's
to
like,
the thrill of
I
terrorism.
lived. I got yeah. He's a real fucking terrorist, huh?
They all are, Matt.
That reminds me, I wanted to talk about this last week. So it's very interesting, this whole play and date thing, but also like before that, I talked about me doing and Vanessa and Jim did it as well, the Chocobo Cup. So this is essentially Osama bin Laden participating in the Indy 500 2 weeks after 9/11, right? Like,
Sure.
what's going on here?
Osama bin Laden as a jockey in the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah. It's fucking insane. It's insane. It makes, in any way, shape, or form, it makes the least sense of anything I've ever fucking seen in my life.
It does. He doesn't have the build of a jockey, and that beard is just going to create air drag.
Kate Sith should be the jockey. The cat.
Yeah.
He would be a good.
Well, he's a robot, so that's illegal. You can't. That's like doping. You can't have a robot as your jockey.
So, Skywheel date. I guess you all
Yeah.
three went with Tifa. How did it go? I'll tell you about Barrett after.
I thought this
I mean,
whole scene was
we boned.
very well written.
Absolutely boned in this Skywheel.
Well, that's what they're for.
Yeah, you're in the.
I mean, that is what they're for, John. You're at the top. You get your dick wet. That's how life goes.
I will say I was surprised that after they have a heartfelt discussion, they did have a full-on smooch fest with
really?
each other.
Vanessa,
I was impressed by that.
I was dreading. All right, so we get on the Skywheel. It's a Ferris wheel, and we get on it with Tifa, and there's some neat stuff. Like there's these light shows. We saw this when we first came to the Golden Saucer, so it's not new. But and they're having kind of like a moment, and they're like bumping hands and like, ooh, do we want to touch each other? Which, by the way, these people are in their fucking mid-20s. Grow the fuck up. But
It's high stakes. They've known each other forever.
okay.
And she just saw his other
but-
girlfriend sing a song to him. So,
Well, I don't know, John, because that's how it was in the original game. But in this game, it doesn't feel like she's his other girlfriend. And I think it's I really think that it's like, I really think that it kind of, I don't want to say ruins, but like it really like brings the story down that, you know, there's not this like love triangle of what's going to happen.
Like more than one girl after the guy. Shouldn't all the girls be into him?
I actually kind of
I like
appreciated.
Wheel of Time. He had 3 wives.
Actually,
I just don't. I think that it's a worse version of the story. Like, if Aerith, if this is not like a love triangle where we're trying to figure out what's going on, like Aerith's just another hanger-on, like Barrett or Yuffie or fucking Red 13.
So what? I think it's so much better. I hate this
I think
love
it's
triangle.
so
I think
much
it's
fucking
better
worse.
too. And if you go on a date with Aerith, her scene in the Skywheel, where she's actually talking about her feelings for Cloud, and she's like, I think she basically says like, yeah, I do love you, but like not in a romantic way. Like I have feelings for you, but they're not those kinds of feelings. So it's
I get it, but from a narrative standpoint, like it cuts a lot of the tension of what's happening here and just kind of becomes a generic and bland story about people being around. Like, what's the point?
That's a little
What do I
reductive.
care? What do I care about? What's Aerith's fucking purpose here? Because I don't
the
mean to sound
ancient.
like
Yeah, she's the last
being
ancient.
a fucking.
she
That's
speaks
got
directly
very
to the
little
planet.
to do with the story up until the next chapter. You know?
What's the point of a woman if she doesn't want to sleep with a guy?
It's not what's the point of a woman if she doesn't want to sleep with a guy, but it's relegates her to the back line of characters like Barrett and fucking Yuffie, of people that are just like part of the background and not part of the actual like tension of the plot.
Or maybe a platonic friendship can be just as important as a romantic one.
It's
That
true.
doesn't really. That's fair, but it doesn't
that's
really.
nonsense.
It doesn't. It doesn't really. It doesn't really like.
What do you feel
Disagree
like?
with what I said.
What do you feel like Aerith?
We have
wanting
this
to
interesting
Cloud-
story of this like weird. We have this interesting story of like a love triangle of like, well, he's Cloud, who is our self-insert character, our main character, has this girl that he has had feelings for a long time, but now here's what I think it comes down to. You don't really have a choice because the plot is the plot, but you have this tension between kind of a manic pixie dream girl, which is Aerith, and your girl next door, which is Tifa. And this game does away with that and is just... I think it's a weaker plot because of it.
I like that Tifa is not relegated to the second choice.
Me too, and I like. It feels like it's giving Aerith a little more agency too. Like she's not one of those female characters that automatically falls in love with the protagonist. Like she's able to articulate. And
she doesn't. She didn't automatically fall in love with Cloud though. She met him in the street when she was selling flowers, and then he showed up in her space and saved her from the Turks. It's not.
Well, she's
not just a random girl.
He did that in Remake too, and she didn't fall in love with him, which feels like a little more true to life.
And he acts exactly like her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Only
its own
worse.
whole weird side thing that we don't really know. We're never really going to know what's going on there. But that's fine. Like, I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just telling you I disagree. I think that the plot of this game is weaker because they have done away with the love triangle, and instead it's just Cloud and Tifa and Aerith in the background going, "Get him, girl." Like, it's kind of boring. It's boring. It's fucking boring.
I think it makes it stronger. I like seeing women supporting women, and I like that Aerith is able to have purpose and agency aside from just being a love interest.
Yeah. Does she, though? Because she does nothing this entire goddamn game.
She's the ancient.
So she's the MacGuffin?
I don't know. I feel like she
That's
does
better.
more in this version of the game than she did last time. But
I agree.
like she's
I mean, from that point of view, none of the characters do anything except for maybe Kate Sith. All they all do is wander around.
That's true.
Yeah.
They all have
Without
their
purpose.
own little plots, and they're all background characters. They're all just
all right.
I mean, even like Barrett
So
has a whole side plot.
is it like a peck on the cheek with Tifa, or is it like tongue? Is it?
No, it's full
No.
on mouth to
Oh
mouth.
wow!
Oh yeah.
It's staged, and actually, I'll put a picture of it in the chat. I found a screenshot. It's a
Yeah, you found it
it's a
on
very
your lock screen.
very found in my spank bag.
Find
Very well staged.
10,000
Shot
Big
here.
material.
Aw. Well, that doesn't happen with Barrett.
There's actually a weird. This is kind of weird. Jim says it's well staged. It's kind of weird, actually. Cloud like reaches over and grabs her by the
Ladies
shoulders,
love that.
but then brings her in for like a tight hug,
Oh.
and they have like a good hug.
Yeah, but it should have played like the...
Which is fine. But then he he's got in this tight hug, but then he like pushes her back, and then he like looks her deep in the eyes, and then he like pulls in for the kiss, and I kind of almost was like, I don't know that she's into this.
Well, he's a fucking
I
weirdo.
don't know.
He's probably not good at kissing.
On my wondrous date, I mean, they stage it a lot like the original where Barrett's angry at you, but he's not angry at you this time, but they're both sitting very uncomfortably on the sky wheel, like arms crossed, like far at the exact opposite side of the compartment from each other. And then Barrett does some things that remind me of an ex-boyfriend of mine. Like he starts playing with the wheel that rotates the what would you call this? Carriage, I guess. Yeah, he plays with the wheel that rotates the carriage, and then he gets like super scared by some of the holograms that come in. And he like almost starts shooting his gun,
Oh yeah.
and Cloud has to stop him. It reminds me of one time, a certain boyfriend I had. I took him. I was taking my car through the car wash. He had never been in a car wash before and reacted just like Barrett to everything that was happening around him, like slightly scared, like what? As like the brushes come down on the sides and stuff. That was amazing.
Car washes can be pretty
Yeah,
dramatic.
if you've never been in one before, you might not expect the things that happen. Anyway, So it reminded me of that, and then basically they have a heartfelt talk, and it's not like in the original game it was Barrett saying you should have been nicer to the girls, which in this time he says, okay, like take it from me, this is how I met Myrna, the love of my life. I took a chance and I worked for it, and I took the chance of telling her how I felt, and that's what you got to do. If you really like someone, tell them how you feel. And I was like, oh, is this like a little secret hint to Cloud? Like, if you really like someone, you should seize the moment and tell them.
If you feel like you have a romantic opportunity.
But it was not. There was no sexual. There was way more sexual tension when he was about to hold Barrett's hand in Loveless than in this part, sadly. So, but it was cute. It was fine.
That sounds similar to the Yuffie one. The Yuffie date is her, she's being Yuffie, kind of bouncing around everywhere. Loveless? But she does eventually. I don't know, actually. I just watched her date on YouTube, but it's her like asking Cloud about his relationship with Tifa and kind of poking him to open up about it, and then she's basically tells him like, don't be an idiot, like it's pretty clear that you guys like each other.
Okay.
You should try to act on it. I think a lot of the dates, if you don't go on a date with Tifa, are really about Cloud and Tifa having feelings for each other.
I think that's what the Barrett
they're all kind of like that's the topic of conversation in the other dates.
What about if you date the dog?
I think explicitly talks about Tifa.
The
dog is
so what happens with the dog?
He's so sweet. He's just like really excited to be on the date and in the carriage, and he acts like the most doggy of the whole game. Like he's panting excitedly, and so much so that Cloud has to like stop him from drooling on the upholstery because he gets so excited. And he's like bouncing around, and then he actually talks about Aerith. He says that Cloud really needs to protect Aerith, and he is worried about her.
Well, where's he later then? Where's he later? In the City of the Ancients. Nowhere to be seen, Red.
So we wrap this date up, and I think we go back to sleep, right? Like we go back to our separate rooms because everyone is chased and fucking annoying. Mm-hmm. And
it's not their fault they don't have genitals.
It's Coliseum time.
That's not true. Remember last time Barrett had some big old melon nuts.
You said Dio has huge nuts, right?
And Dio has giant nuts too.
All right, I'll concede that they have nuts, but nothing else.
They just have just a stacking in between their legs.
So we got this great air quotes Aerith song, and then we get this little date on the Sky Wheel, and then we go to the Coliseum the next day, and we get reintroduced to Don Corneo and his hype men.
Don Corneo is a DJ now?
His hype man named Scotch and Koch. I don't remember that from Remake, but I guess those are their names.
Where did Leslie go?
Don Corneo is scratching records as a DJ for some reason. When this came on, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Terrible.
Like,
It's terrible.
And Scotch and Koch do this great rap because next up, it's your boys, Scotch and Koch, bringing you the thrill of the fight. One unforgettable night. It basically continues like that.
It was such a 90s rap sequence where characters you don't expect to be rapping are rapping, and then someone's a DJ scratching a record. It was so bad.
It's like a Limp Bizkit.
There's this long scene of Dio giving a speech about I love the golden saucer and I really want to keep it and everything's great, and then Scotch and Koch and Don Corneo have to interrupt him with Scotch and Koch's terrible, god awful 5 full fucking minute rap. It is. What's wrong
How
with
else
this
are we
game?
supposed to know who Scotch and Koch are and what Don Corneo's deal is? It's just, a clever way to introduce exposition.
We played through the last game. We know who he is. Come on.
I was thinking
My
today.
name's Rapid Scotch, and I'm
Nope,
here to
like,
say
Don
Don
Corneo.
Corneo's a mate.
Don Corneo's hair and the fact that his name is Don Corneo, like I get like a Donald Trump vibe almost. Like he's a creepy sex predator. He has stupid
He's
hair.
a total Trump. 100%. And Scotch and Koch are Don Jr. and Eric.
Gross.
So now we get 6 fucking fights in a row.
Yeah,
and
that's a
3 of
bunch.
them are boss fights. So I hope you're ready for that. 90 hours into this game. I hope you're ready for this.
Yeah,
We
we're
get
on the
3 Coliseum fights against just like rando enemies, right?
Yeah, the first round is a bunch of like Corneo lackeys that you have to beat up. There's quite a few of them, but they're pretty easy. Second fight is the cactuars that have Corneo's
Okay, I
mustache
loved
and
these.
hair.
Were they corntoirs? Yeah,
Corneo
Corneo
tours.
tours.
I mean, it's cute, but also it's nothing.
They were
What's the
adorable.
thad fight?
The third fight is against 2 regular Tonberries and 1 Corneo
Oh, yeah,
Tonberry.
that was
That's
great.
right, the Corneo Tomberry.
I
mean, thankfully I fought the King Tomberry, so I already knew how to do this.
Yeah.
and then
And then you fight Abzu, who's the
did we
the
cut off
boss.
Abzu's tail last time?
Abzu and Corneo.
I believe so,
Because
yeah.
he doesn't have
Oh,
a
yeah,
tail
and
this
Corneo.
time.
Yeah. He also doesn't have the sewer to
Yeah.
throw at us.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no water fight. I obliterated Abzu. I was like, am I over leveled here? It was very easy. But the boss after this next boss, the last boss in the boss rush is I died like 7 times.
This was a big surprise.
Well, first the Turks show up.
Well, we beat Corneo, and we are awarded the Keystone as our prize. But guess who shows up and just takes it?
Turks. They start throwing it around like a
Turks.
baseball.
Ah!
It's pretty good. Matt,
I like this.
Gonna save every one of us.
We get a whole scene, and then what happens? Kate Sith is like, throw it to me, and they do, and then he scampers out of the Coliseum. with the
Isn't that's
Keystone.
after you
He's
fight?
betrayed us.
That's at the end of all the fights.
no,
he
I
had
don't
his
think so.
reasons.
I could be wrong.
I think so too. I think it's
Yeah.
at the end, but you know,
It's
whatever.
fine. It's fine. Yeah, so you have to fight Rude. There was a good joke because I keep mixing up Reno and Rude, and in the chat, I was like, oh yeah, I just finished the Reno and Elena fight, and Matt wrote Rude. I was like, well, no, they deserved it. Anyway,
Well, according to the notes that Jim wrote, they throw it to Kate Sith, who is now helping the Turks, and then we have to fight Elena and Rude. Thankfully, Dio has some lackeys bring out some benches and vending machines
yeah.
for us to top off.
I like that
that.
Elena takes a moment to have a little rest on the bench.
Yeah, I actually, Elena was kind of a nothing character in the original. I like all the characterization that they've given her. She's a really fun character.
You know, I don't really agree with you, Jim, because I don't like it when women are in this game. No, I'm kidding. But I do think that
Why doesn't Elena want to get with Cloud?
Yeah, why doesn't she want to get with
Tertiary
Cloud?
character.
I do think that. So I mentioned this I think last week. I watched a Let's Play of the original, and I was kind of shocked that Elena was in it a lot more than I realized. It's really not that
she's
different.
around. She's definitely, but yeah, never mind. I'll talk. Yeah, she did.
One thing I don't remember if I mentioned this the last time we fought Rude and Elena, but if you're playing as Tifa, Rude will not attack her.
Really? I noticed that Elena
Yeah,
because
or-
I did this as Tifa, Barrett, and Cloud. And Tifa was always being hit by Elena. You're right, I did notice that.
Elena. Yeah, Rude will not go out of his way to attack Tifa because he has a crush on her.
Aw.
I had to. I was using Kate Sith, so he leaves the party here before this fight, and so I had to sub in Yuffie. Thankfully, I learned that you can hold down the square button and it'll throw you into the menu before the fight.
I just randomly found that, especially for Rufus, I had to like totally min-max Cloud to win this fight.
Yeah. And I had to take everything off of Kate Sith and put it on Yuffie. But you fight them, it's fine. And then we get the big, I guess, final boss fight.
The president is here.
After we defeat Rude and Elena, and we get a cutscene where they're like, okay, let's really get going. And I was like, am I going to have to fight them again? Get the fuck out of here. But instead, the president is here. It's Rufus. And we have to fight Rufus again.
And
it sucks.
in sort of a reprise of last time, you really have to react to know what to do with every single move. Like, is this a dodge one? Is this a block one? Like, you should be blocking Guns Akimbo because then you can immediately attack him as he's reloading. He always reloads after Guns Akimbo. I just found this really hard.
Matt, did you see
Really,
my notes? Did you see my entry in the notes? For
okay. So here's
Rufus's
Jim's
entrance
notes.
Here?
Elena and Rude, after being defeated, are ready to go another round, but by God, that's Rufus's music. Somebody call the coroner, because these guys will surely be deceased as God is my witness, who will break them in half.
By God!
By God, that's Rufus's music.
Yep. It's some real WWE bullshit.
Yeah, that's what I thought because like you get all these pirate techniques when like Rufus
and the lights
enters
turn
and
down.
He gets like music.
He comes up from like a lower stage where it just raises him up.
Yeah.
His dog really wants to join in, but he only gets to after like you've taken away half his health. I definitely had fun with the Rude and Elena fight, doing so many limit breaks and synergy attacks and stuff. They were just getting wrecked. Like I did Ascension.
I liked the idea, at least for me, I liked the idea that in these fights for the spectators, they saw me pull out Bahamut. They saw me pull out Odin. Like I was just fucking calling summons left and right.
For Rufus's fight, calling out Bahamut really helped because that sort of distracted him a bit, and he would sometimes leave him pressured, which broke his counter. So that really helps getting Bahamut out there.
So the Rufus fight is bullshit. I will say that the one tip that I found online is that you don't have to wait for him to be reloading. Like, if he does a big move, you can attack him, like, immediately and catch him reloading. In fact, if you wait until it says reloading, he'll counter you. You really have to anticipate it.
Yeah.
But once I read that, I realized that then I had an easier time because he would do, for example, Guns Akimbo, and I wouldn't wait for him to reload. Yeah. I would hit
he won't because you can hit him during a move, and he cannot counter. And with Guns Akimbo, he's always reloading after that one because he doesn't reload after every move. It's only after a certain.
He reloads after most of them, though. Like it's basically anytime he pulled a named move, I would dodge it and then immediately pull out. One of my moves.
I would say this or the yin and yang fight are the hardest fights in the game so far. The one where it's yin
and yang was more bullshit, but this was kind of bullshit. Like Rufus it's one of those situations where you feel like the computer is anticipating you, and it's a big difficulty spike. Like it doesn't feel fair.
I found it doesn't feel fair. I found it to be easier if I used Punisher mode, Cloud's Punisher mode.
It's easier to
can
counter.
Counters.
a bunch of stuff too. 'Cause, like you can counter his moves too, and that will put him off balance. And there's a whole bunch to it. Just it takes more concentration. Than this game's been pretty easy.
It does. I got him on the second try, but it was close, and I did have to, like, as John said, I had to like min-max my materia. I had to ditch all the elemental and fighting and all that. And, like, none of that mattered. All that mattered was I was casting haste and bravery on myself constantly. I was doing
protect and shell and haste, and I also it sucks in the original game, or not in the original, in remake. Rufus was weak against poison, so I was throwing hazardous materials but did nothing.
I thought he was weak against poison here as well, but I didn't bother with it. I just my first shot, I got to him calling out Darkstar the dog, and then I felt like I just couldn't do anything. This time around, the second time around, when Darkstar came out, I also summoned Odin, and that really beat the shit out of Darkstar. It was pretty good, actually. Odin is awesome.
I believe I did Odin summon during this fight too.
I tried Bahamut the first time, but the problem is that Bahamut, both of his summon attacks are two ATB bars, and I was having a real hard time.
What I liked about Bahamut is he's doing damage and like pressuring Rufus the whole time too. Anyway, so you win the fight, Rufus.
I mean, I guess Vanessa one-shotted this thing because she has nothing.
Vanessa was like,
I got nothing to say about this.
She just looked at him and snapped it in half.
I just looked at him.
There was a weird moment too during this fight where Dio had to leave, and the commentator's like, Dio's like, I gotta go take care of something, and then Scrunch and Munch or one of the Scorch takes over. The commentary, he's like, that's weird that Dio had to leave. So I don't know what that was all about.
I missed that.
Dio has stuff to do.
I did during the Rude and Elena fight. There is a part where the commentator is like, oh, we're getting a call. And he like picks it up and he's like, who is it? Or something like that. And then he goes, Mr. President. And then Rufus shows up. I thought that was pretty funny.
So,
Rufus, much like Don Corneo, much like Hojo, for some reason the game won't just let us fucking kill these people. And can I just say how aggravated I am that the game refused to allow me to end Don Corneo of all the shitty characters in this game. Okay, and listen, Hojo's right up there as just a massive piece of shit. I would like to cut Don Corneo's fucking head.
And they do threaten.
Off,
they do talk about his testicles for a whole minute.
They threatened to smash him
or
rip them off.
That's right. We didn't mention that. We get a call back to the last game where Tifa, Cloud, and Aerith all repeat their same lines, but then Barrett's
going to blow them off.
Nanaki.
And Nanaki is going to chew them off.
And Nanaki's going to bite them off.
So, but you know what? They better go, the next one better have Corneo dying a really brutal death on that statue of DeChao, like in the original game. That better happen.
Yeah, I think that's what they're holding out for, is they want to recreate that scene in
he gets crucified.
I remember it was
he gets hung up on the statue because you have that fight or whatever, or that scene with the Turks.
It's like they nail his hands and his feet.
I remember it was gnarly.
Statue. They crucify his ass.
Oh, do they?
He gets killed.
Well, I think so, but I could be wrong.
The 32-bit PS1 graphics. Who even knows?
This time it will be much more graphic, and we'll see them crush them, pull them off, bite them off, shoot them off, cut them off, and twist them off, I guess.
I just like...
It's like a Lars von Trier
weird
movie.
Line, and it's even weirder in the remakes where like the games just don't quite want to like push those boundaries. And
the game kind of wants to keep everyone alive, and I'm like, well, can you do this? Like,
yeah,
it just it wants to be real PG-13, but also they're like constantly like cursing and murdering things. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And like, so these characters like Don Corneo and Hojo turn into fucking Skeletor. They're Cobra Commander. They're fucking, it's a joke. Like, just kill them. Why didn't we kill Hojo on that beach?
You do kill Hojo later in the game, in the original anyway. You do
he
murder
does
Hojo.
but they all die in
All right.
Act 3.
So you're saying they're edging me.
you.
That's
Yeah.
fine,
And
I
but
guess.
so far, like, all those characters do die in the last disc, basically, or like last 2 discs of the game.
I mean, I do hope that in Final Fantasy VII Remake, Rebirth,
Reunion.
I do hope that both Don Corneo and Hojo die like saw deaths.
I think the
I hope
Turks are
that
going to
we
live.
brutally
That is
murder them.
my prediction. None of the Turks are going to die.
All right, so Rufus disappears in a cloud of smoke after we kick his ass because he's a big fucking baby. And then we have basically... So the way that this goes, it's kind of weird because the announcer says that everybody's disqualified because Rufus bails, right? So he should be disqualified and we should be the winner. But
They're
instead,
not gonna do that. He's
Rufus,
the president of the world.
Rufus vanishes, and then we run out to hunt down Kate Sith. And the announcer is like, "Oh, they're both disqualified," which really fucking pissed me off. Like, motherfucker, I'm not disqualified. My opponent fled the ring. He's disqualified. I win. Now I'm busy. I got shit to do.
You tell
But
that.
I guess nobody else wants to chime in here. We do have to chase Kate Sith around the fucking park.
After Rufus disappears in a puff of smoke, we see Kate Sith with the little... So I thought the keystone was going to be like a keystone.
Keystone.
But it's like a glowing... Or not glowing. A big rock. A big sphere. It's like a labyrinth.
I'm sorry. What do you think a keystone should
I guess
look like? Because this
a keystone...
was fine to me.
I always think of...
You think it should look like a key?
I always think of keystone as the thing that goes in the middle of an arch in the middle to keep it. So it would be like a sort of a trapezoid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes they like put the date of the building on it or something.
That's what I was
fancy.
thinking, but it's fine. Anyway, so now you got to chase Kate Sith. First, you find him in the gift shop hanging out on a shelf. I really like that.
Yeah, it's kind of the
Hiding
same thing
with
every
the other
time. He's
plushies.
always hiding with stuffed animals.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
The one for whatever reason, because I guess I remembered there was a Moogle statue there. Finding him in the plaza downstairs took me a while.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that he's... when you find him, he is seated next to
Moogle
another
statue. Yeah.
stuffed Moogle. He's hiding on his Moogle, seated next to another stuffed Moogle, and I swear I walked back by that thing a dozen times, and there were not 2 Moogles there. So it was... I feel like it was weird. Like there's a maybe
Yeah, or
there's
you
a
have to talk
timing
to a certain
thing.
amount of people and get all the different cutscenes of him scurrying off. I don't know. Took me a few times, but yeah, you find him on a bench, pretending. I liked it, and so that Kate.
Well, eventually he goes. We find him and find him and find him, and he keeps running away. And eventually we chase him to the helipad, and he throws the keystone to Song.
Is this Reeve?
And they
Is this
fly
Reeve
away.
doing this?
No, that's
No.
Song.
Control. So is this Reeve like going against us? And
Yeah.
what a jerk!
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if this was the robot or
He
Reeve.
has very good reasons that I'm sure will become apparent
Sure.
to everyone.
Sure, Vanessa.
And then Kate Sith leaves the
I
party.
know you have a crush on Reeve.
Yeah. I mean, he'd already left the party, right?
Yeah,
Like-
technically he was out when he left the
Oh, I
Coliseum.
guess you're right though, because you can still like take
here
strip his
it
materia
removes
and
all the
stuff, but
items
you're right.
from
After
him.
this, he's
And
gone.
He's gone. It was a pretty dramatic moment.
Yeah.
We get a cutscene of the gang, including Sid and Vincent, and Sid is talking about like, well, we could chase them, but I don't know how we could find them. And Vincent says like, well, if they're communicating via radio, I can track them because I am a Turk and I know their frequencies. And Sid says, hey, guess what? We've got a radio in the tiny Bronco. And so we are kind of instructed to go meet back at the tiny Bronco. And once we do, Vincent, they have a little chat about how they're going to find him. And that's the end of the chapter.
Yep. End of Chunker.
Next time.
Yeah. Next time we're going to finish chapter 13, which is essentially the Temple of the Ancients.
What's chapter 14? I guess I'll find out.
Chapter 14 is just the
don't
climax. Spoiler alert for climax.
I thought you were going to tell me what it was.
Yeah,
14
John.
will be a good place to
It's the climax,
gather up
John.
whatever we missed, too.
Yeah.
John, it's the climax.
All right, Matt, what are you squarely against?
I am squarely against a long and overdrawn song by Aerith, followed immediately by a fucking long and overdrawn rap song that was terrible. Basically, this whole chunker comes down to a date, a QTE game, a song, another song, 6 fucking fights, 3 of which are boss fights, and then a terrible, boring chase scene. It's the weirdest chunker in the game, I think.
Well, you don't forget an opera, too.
I didn't dislike it. Like, at least they didn't give us another fucking area to go find Chadley farts or whatever. Like, I'm real burned out on that shit. But the pacing is bad. That's what it comes down to. The pacing sucks. A shitty Aerith song followed by the worst rap I've ever heard? Fuck you. John, what are you
I'm
squarely
roundly
against?
for everyone turning their backs on Kate Sith. And he's so upset. He's like, I knew this would happen. But even Aerith is like, Cloud's like, no, you got to leave him. This dude sucks. And she's like, and turns its back. And Kate Sith is so sad. Vanessa.
She says,
horrible.
like, I thought I was a better judge of character. And it is kind of a bummer.
Oh, poor kitty, poor kitty.
It's not a kitty, Vanessa. It's
Robocat.
a robot.
What about Vanessa? What are you roundly for or squarely against?
Yay. I am squarely against giving me such a horrible conundrum in having to choose my love between 3 beautiful people, by which I mean 2 people and a dog. It was tough. It was really, really hard to choose Tifa. I guess
You mean the worst decision you could make.
I really want to go back and do it. And
I
pick
wish
Red
she would mention
just
it
to
on
see what
the
happens.
Ferris wheel.
Jim, what are you squarely against?
I am roundly for Tifa and Cloud's kiss.
Ooh.
I thought it was well earned, and I thought the whole scene was really great, and I'm glad the game finally took a stance on how they actually feel about one another. I was very satisfied by the whole thing.
Did you feel like that kiss was wet enough?
I wish it was sloppier.
Do you think there was tongue? Because I didn't
see
feel
any
like there
tongue.
was. It just felt like an extended smooch, which
Yeah,
is...
there should have been maybe like some fingering or maybe like some over the pants jacking off.
What
Whose
the
pants?
fuck?
Maybe in the next game. Maybe that's a DLC. All right.
The QTE jacking off minigame.
We already
All
had
right.
that, really, with the hand massage.
Yeah, that's true. We do have an email, but we can save it for next week.
Just shipped Blue Sky DMs. You can
No.
now send direct messages, DMs, to people on Blue Sky. That's the
Open
email
the
that's in the
notes.
email box.
So one from Jamie Black. I put it in the notes.
I'm scrolling through
You
the
just scrolled over it.
notes. All right. Someone took the time to write this, and I'm not going to be sulky about it. I appreciate it. Just give me a moment to center myself here. here I go. First off, wow, amazing show. Really helps me get through my days and relive all the games of my childhood without having to put in the time. Haha. I'm a resident of Vancouver, BC. Hi, John. And I love the way you present the games. Only season I had to stop listening to was Bayonetta, because Matt's complaints were too much.
Too bad.
Final Fantasy VII was a great game that changed my life. I was going through a lot, and that game and the subtle things that make the story arguably the best piece of storytelling in modern times. I agree Nomura is a bit of a one-trick pony, and it was best when he was just a character designer. Don't want to go on too long, but wanted to drop by and say thanks. I think me and John have the same taste in games, and it's amazing. Thanks again, Jamie.
Thanks, Jamie.
Oh, thank you, Jamie. I'm glad you like my taste in games. Do you like open world crimey shooty games, like drivey shooty games like I do? I'm curious. Usually people who like the JRPGs don't like the GTA and drivers like I do.
All right. Well, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. Quickly about our Patreon, patreon.com/Square Roots Podcast. Tons of great bonus content on there. 2 tiers on that Patreon, one $3, one $5. The difference between them is if you're a $5 patron, you get to vote on games that we play on the show.
And if you're a $3 patron, you get to listen to all of our hot bonus content, like this month's episode.
Little Gator Game. We also like to read the names of some of our patrons on the air. I'm going to start us this week by thanking Rubber Bear, friend of DeSoto, Aaron O'Toole, Jess Ray, Omaha Zookeeper, Gage Lacharite, Mike, did Sephiroth do this? Saul Wagner, Daniel Wood, J-Bone, Butts on Parade, Tyler, and Johnny 5 Alive.
I'd like to thank Anthony Cruz, Zachary Bullet Ant Harbison, David Green, Justin Rash, Samu Mitchell, Ryan Schmidt, Ryan Angel, Joshua W. Broxson, Ian Frederick, Mike Marno, Stephen Paget, and Robert T. And I'd like to thank Sean Gonzalez, Star Drifter, Hexagon, Jason Timms, Isaac Wright, David Shook, Doom Train, Anthony Lerma, Omen Rand, Justin Ham, Dr. Fine, say everyone's name. We stopped doing that. Wishbone is gay, Explosive Diarrhea, and Magpie Juju.
All right, that's it for this episode. If you'd like to send us an email to have read on the air like Jamie did, you can email us at squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come join us on our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast group for smart, cool, very attractive people. Or B-Skeet us on Blue Sky at squarerootspod.bsky.social.
Please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Ghana, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks to Stephen Morris for our Square Roots theme. You can find Stephen on YouTube. Links in the show notes.
All right, for Square Roots, I'm Jim Banks.
I'm
Goodbye.
John.
I'm Vanessa. Bye.
Bye.